made it.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Wow. You made it. I was looking out the window. I was saying, hey, you know what? It's snowing outside, and it's beautiful from our tavern. And then I looked over, and you were, like, panting and sweating and completely exhausted getting to the chair, and I still don't know what the heck just happened. But, hey, we're here. And look, we have friends.
We have friends. We made it. Whew. Good thing you didn't leave a pin on my chair or anything. I was coming in hot after
Oh,
that
I left the
last
pin
outing.
there. It probably just got absorbed.
Excuse me? What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
Are you saying... Never mind.
The seat opened a Daedric portal and it sucked it right up and then it was gone.
I'm just kidding.
Just falls through the chair.
I'm kidding. I just disappear off stream suddenly. I'm like, ah. Kidding.
We need more bacon volume on stream. Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to get that bacon. More
bacon. I'm a little choppy too, it looks like on my side,
oh,
but
of course.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, weird.
This is a test. This is only a test.
I am at a loss of how to fix this more bacon problem because... Oh, there it is.
No.
Ah!
Testing.
Okay, are we doing better?
Is it better? Maybe.
More bacon, less peanut?
80% of that, they said.
80?
Whoa.
80, like add 80% onto that? Or
no, I think 80% of the volume you gave me. Less.
Oh, okay. This I can do over here.
Less,
okay, try now?
Less. Testing. The bacon is...
Baconing?
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. Okay. Hang on, let me put it back.
The bacon is baconing.
The
bacon has arrived.
Oh.
Boy, I'm gonna tell you, that fast traveling, it was not doing me any justice. Any. Wow.
Wow. Do you want to start over again?
Let me take my potion of heroism. Hold, please.
Somebody had a glass or two of wine at her meal.
I did not. I drank water because I knew that we were going to be in the tavern and that hydration is important.
Okay, well, good for you.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to the tavern. It is snowing outside the tavern today because it's the winter time, and in the winter time, that's what it does, is it snows. And you can argue with me until you're blue in the face. When it's winter time, it snows. My name is Toasted Peanut. I was supposed to introduce myself as Gone Crazy back soon. What?
You're Gone Crazy back soon, and I'm Toasted Peanut now, apparently. I can't wait for you to read your lore lesson later.
Oh my gosh. My name is Toasted Peanut, and I am joined by my trusty friend and troublemaker, Gone Crazy back soon, also known as Bacon. How are you doing, Bacon?
I'm good. Troublemaker, huh? Is it because I'm a Nightblade? Is that why?
Yeah, and you fast travel from the toilet to the casting chair and then back again. I don't know.
Toilet?
Toilet travel.
I was not in Murkmire, sir. Not in Murkmire.
You said it, not me. You really did.
Well, you're the one who said toilet. Anyway, yeah. No, I just did a little bit of fast traveling. Sorry, I was actually with another Loreseeker. I was with Booch. And I had some dinner. And then I had to fast travel back here to the tavern to make sure that I made it in time for the show. So, yeah. I'm good.
You made it?
I made it. We had some scamps chewing on the wires for a few minutes, but we're good. We did it.
We did. We sure did. Let's
happy
start off.
To be here.
Yeah. So, like, first things first, really happy to be here. Happy 2025. This is the first episode of 2025. We just wrapped up the New Life Festival. Sorry, there was a dial-up tone that almost started up right there. We just wrapped up the New Life Festival, and it was absolutely fantastic. A lot of fun. Lots of jumping off of bridges and cliff sides and dancing in fire pits. And shoving swords down our throats, all that kind of things. I mean, that's what I did. I kept doing the swords down my.
Yeah, that explains a lot about you. I prefer to throw mud balls.
That's fair. You would, because you're gone crazy trolling back soon.
Gone mudballing back soon.
Gone mudballing back soon. That's what it is. We're gone mudballing back soon.
Totally.
Love it.
That's exactly what it was.
For those of you guys that are joining us live on twitch.tv/Loreseekers ESO, welcome. We're glad you're here. And if you are not joining us live, first off, what are you doing? That's your first problem. Second off, come join us. Come hang out with the shenanigans, because there's going to be a bunch of stuff that you're going to see. I'm not mean. I'm just being a realist.
That is not how you get people to come to the tavern.
Your first drink's on the tavern.
Attaboy. That's better.
That's how we do it. Please bear with us on this episode. We are trying out some new recording software for videos, so you might notice a little bit of things that are changing. If anything is terribly wrong, please let us know, and we can try to fix it and make the adjustments as needed. But without further ado...
Was that my signal to sneeze?
No, I just had to achoo and then just dab the nose. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Barkeep, can you bring me another round, please? And Rotmac,
bring him
short lady.
And bring him a towel, but not the one from the bar, please.
Oh, I don't want the bar towel, unless we're going to bring it out in a cup, in which case that could be like a game that we play.
Not drinking that. That's worse than Jaga.
That's going to be terrible.
Punch and pie, Weevil? I'm sure we've got that in the back. We'll get it for you.
Punch and pie? Oh,
plastic
guaranteed.
Fit. I don't know what the most expensive drink is that we have, but... Well,
Cyrodiilic whiskey?
That's going on Toasty's tab, not mine.
Love it. So... It has been, what, like 2.5 weeks since we were last live? Well, you were live with the Extra Life stream, which I was a part of for about an hour. And then that decided to not be a thing anymore because the wind decided to have other plans.
Mm-hmm. And then we did a tavern.
And then we did we did do a tavern. That's right. Forgot.
Yes, we had an episode.
We had a tavern.
Are we gonna talk about Extra Life again? Because I'm pretty sure we've already talked about that.
If you want to know about Extra Life, by all means, please jump over to the Tavern Talks episode, and we talk about it for a good long while. Bacon has lots to say about it. She's extremely passionate about it, and is a great, absolutely fantastic cause. So. Without further ado, Bacon, what have you been up to since our Tavern Talk episode at the end of December?
I have been doing a little bit of the Westfield story more. Hooray! Ooh. Finally, I had a little bit of time to quest. I'm so excited. Finally. I have been progressing in alt on PlayStation. Finally, I've been trying to finish leveling my warden that I made way back in the time of Morrowind. Yeah, she's been around for a long time and never made it to CP. So I've been working on that because there's literally only 2 days left to get the rest of those skill styles, and I'm really bad and don't play a lot of alts. So this is only my second character on PlayStation that I would be getting to 50.
Oh my goodness.
So I have 10 levels to go, and I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I'm going to try.
You'll make it.
Yeah, we'll see. And yeah, so it's doable. We'll see. I did... Yeah, right? 2 days left. Woohoo! I got stuck in a little bit of what I'll call a lore hole, for lack of words. When I was in the Westfield, no spoilers, but there was a couple things that I'm like, wait a minute, I think I read about a sword or something cutting somewhere else during... I know, that was a really bad way to say that. I'm so sorry. Let me backtrack. There's an artifact that comes up in the main quest in Westfield. And I was curious if something else was referencing said artifact in one of the lore books. So I was going back and I got like a little bit sidetracked and ended up rereading like the 9 coruscations and a bunch of other things. And yeah, anyway, I was down there in that part of the lore as as I watched Peanut's face get more and more confused. Yes. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, I read a couple of the books that had to do with that, and then I have also run a few dungeons with PC peeps, with PlayStation peeps. I did a trial, I'm pretty sure, since I spoke last. I don't think we talked about that on the Tavern episode, but I did Halls of Fabrication on normal. I don't
No,
think we
we
talked
didn't,
about
because I
that.
think that happened after the
Yeah,
Tavern
I think
episode.
that
The only
happened.
thing you talked about was the Cloud Rest healing.
Yes, because that was Extra Life. No, I've done Halls of Fabrication. I did that with Lotus of Doom and Gwen the Bard and a bunch of those people right around the time of Gwen's birthday. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's mostly been trying to just like slow roll the rest of the Westfield. The rest of the
Westfield? The
Westfield.
Westfield? You are
The
just
rest.
on fire today, and I love it.
Boy, this reading later's gonna be
It's
rough.
gonna be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Um, Anyway, I've been trying to finish the Westfield, but I haven't been rushing because,
Good.
as we're going to talk about in a little bit, it's our last full chapter release. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to?
Fantastic. Well, that's really good. I have actually been, well, first off, what is time? I don't know what it is because apparently I don't have enough of it. I am adjusting to my schedule still, which has me working in the evenings, which means it cuts into my playtime with my friends. So that's been keeping me kind of tied away. And when I'm not at work, I'm playing a lot of Tribute as normal. I actually can now say I have all but one deck, and that last deck just requires me to go and finish Galen. But in order to get that last deck fragment, I had to complete one of the side stories in High Isle. And big shout out to Lady Fancy Feet, who actually pointed me in the right direction on where I need to go to start my last fragment hunting. And I got it, the Regine the Liar fragment. And then I did the author duel, finished off the last of the Tales of Tribute questline, and then I got my Sork King Organum deck. And now I am working on the Reach because I saw a house that I wanted to buy, and I needed to complete the Reach, so I started the Reach quest storyline, which I know everyone's going to be like, bro, you're like 4 years too late, but hey, it's never too late to dive into a chapter and start playing it.
I'm just so proud that you're questing.
Oh, I'm questing. I'm doing the
Tear-
quests.
Brings a tear to my eyes.
They grow up so fast.
They grow up so fast.
Yes. So I am slowly working my way through the Reach quest line. I think I'm on the second quest for the Reach, and it's been actually quite interesting. I forgot how much I loved the Reach. The music in the Reach is probably one of my favorite things. It's just the ambience.
So good.
So good.
So good.
That the Celtic vibes are there, and I'm just like, I love this.
It's also like deep. It's like
Mm-hmm.
like the tones are deeper and
yeah.
darker than a lot of the other soundtracks. And it's just very like, whoa, I just,
Yeah.
It's
And
so good.
for those of you guys that don't know or do know me, I love the darker kind of vibey things we get out of video games. I'm very much into the whole like darkness, Sith, evil kind of portrayal. So it's been quite fun to just kind of wander through the Reach and hang out there. And I'm excited to have a house there, which will be nice. And then I have been slowly dabbling in Cyrodiil again. I took quite the hiatus from Cyrodiil. That happened. And now we're back in there. And it's going to be we're going to talk a little bit about this later on, but we're basically 3-weighing Cyrodiil every month. And there's going to be 3 different leads. And we're going to rotate every week. I have 2 weeks of the month. And then we've got Lady Fancy Feet and Courting Onyx, who are going to be leading some Cyrodiil, which is gonna be awesome. So yeah, on Sunday, yesterday, we did some Imperial City, and then we went into some PvP in Cyrodiil itself. And I forgot how much I love Imperial City with my Arcanist. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been enjoyable.
That's good stuff right there.
Some great stuff. That's some content work that I've been doing. Some ESO
I'm proud of
content
you.
work. I am too.
I'm proud
of me.
I'm proud. It's good stuff.
Speaking of content,
Mm-hmm.
boy, do we have an episode for you today and so much stuff to talk about. This week's episode, we are going to be covering the summary of the ESO Live this last week. And we're going to talk a little bit about the new Fallen Banners release. And we're going to absolutely 100% not discuss Update 45. Because why would we discuss Update 45? Doesn't make any sense. Why would we do that? Of course, we're just going to discuss Update 45.
Everybody else is doing it. Why should we do it?
I don't get on the bandwagon what everyone else does. Lame.
We're discussing Update 45.
We're 100% going to discuss Update 45 because there is just so much stuff on Update 45 that we need to talk about. And I am so excited to just talk about it.
And we're not even going to get to it all.
No. So if you haven't read the patch notes, go read the Natchpotes because there's so much stuff. So much stuff. Like, blow your mind apart, so much stuff. And some of it is already live on the PTS. Today, Monday.
The 13th.
Can you tell that we're excited? Chat, can you guys tell that we're excited about Update 45 and the giant bowling ball that they just threw into the game for good and bad? Awesome. Let's transition over into our wonderful little room over here. See, look, I made some adjustments to the Tavern wall behind me. See, there's a little bit of adjustments. Some things changed. I slapped our brand new logo. Can everyone just take a moment and just admire our beautiful logo that our friend and longtime Loreseeker, Minwi Pro, spent quite a few hours putting together. So thank you very much to Minwi Pro for putting that together. You're going to see that logo show up on a bunch of our socials over the course of the next month here as we begin to get our 2025 freshening happening. But there's our brand new podcast logo, and I'm really excited to showcase it on all of our podcast catchers, YouTubes, all the things and the stuff. So, first things first, it's a brand new year. So, do you guys know what happens every year? Bacon, what happens every single year? When they start a new year off, we just finished doing all the things with the tickets from last year. What happens in the next year?
We get a new Morphable.
Dang rights, we get a new Morphable. You guys want to see the new Morphable? Well, here you go. New Morphable thingamajigs. Let's take a look at it here. I got to get the little interact button. There it is. Perfect. May Julianos favor you with the new 2025 Morphing Collectible. I think everybody is pretty well aware how Morphables work, but if you don't know and you've been living under a rock, the Sparks notes are every quarter they release a part. Every quarter they release a portion of it, and then every event they release a part, and you have to buy the part for tickets, then morph the parts into the quarterly collectible. And then the next round, you have to grab new parts and then morph the thing from Q1 into that and then rebuy all the parts for Q1 and then vice versa. It just keeps going down the line. You have to rebuild the Q1 thing 4 times in order to keep it. And at the end, they get bigger as you go through the year. So show your devotion to the divine Julianos with this year's morphing collectible, the Stone Wisp of Truth and Law. So big thing right there. There's doing some interactables. You can see the person's gathering a runestone with the interactable thing. The new morphing collectible, the Stone Wisp of Truth and Law. Morphing collectibles can take many forms over the course of a year. If you're unfamiliar with how they work, you can read more about them in this guide. In the link, there's a guide on how it works. As in past years, you will need to collect 3 different fragments to summon the specific collectible. The axiomatic runestones, the glyph of law, and the Powdered Wisp remains. You were surprised that I actually was able to pronounce that first one, weren't you?
Yes. I'm proud of you. You took your Dwemer drops today.
I took my Dwemer drops today, and I love it.
So proud.
These 3 fragments will be available for purchase with event tickets during each of ESO's 2025's major in-game events. Visit the Impresario and any of her appearances throughout the year to acquire them. Once you have all 3 fragments, combine them in your collections to unlock access to this magical manifestation. The fragment can also be combined with different collectible event rewards each quarter this year, starting with the logical rune extraction, which is shown here in the preview. You can see that it's going to be the blue kind of extraction. This will be the first one. So this is basically what you're going to collect. It's they look like Arcanist symbols.
They do look pretty similar to like the Arcanist style, except they're a little less, like the Arcanists have more curvature. So Julianos is about like, I don't want to say hard lines, but kind of to me, like more like I don't know. You see a pyramid a lot, right? Like the pyramid is one of the
it's one of his big staple. Well, his is the balancing scale, but it's got the triangle.
Yeah, as Minwee said in chat, he's to the point, right?
He is to the point.
Mm-hmm.
So the visual for those of you guys that are going to be listening in the podcast form is it's basically a stack of circles with triangles in the middle of it, and then there are different which look like magical stones. I see there's a green one, there's a purple one, a blue one, and a red one. So I don't know if those represent
they're runes.
The runes.
Like rune stones.
There are 4. But there's only 3. Okay. Yeah, rune stones circling around it.
I didn't make the art asset.
Yeah, that's fair. So, and that's what we're basically. So that's what you're going to have to build every quarter, and then the first thing you're going to get once you build those and morph that item into the next item is going to be a harvesting. What do they call it? What's the word that I'm looking?
A customizable action.
Customizable action.
By the way, fun fact, you can actually preview these on live already. If you go to your fragments tab and also to your customizable actions tab, you can preview both of them and look at them.
There you go. Go take a look at them.
Yeah, the Pan Tamriel event, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I think that's why they're already in there, because that's already, coming. So
yeah. No, that's fantastic. So that's that. Stay tuned. Every year they seem to release this cool little page that breaks down all the collectibles and whatever they is. We'll see that probably in the next couple months of exactly how it's going to be broken down, what you need for what, and how many tickets and everything those are. But there is a new morphable for 2025, starting in the Stone Wisp of Truth and Law, and then the new customizable action. That's the word. I'm having a hard time with that one today.
We're doing so good. You know what? It's not like podcasters have to speak or anything.
No.
I almost said podcasters.
Podcasters have to speak. This is speaking so formally.
No.
We're going to get banned in Europe for this one. Moving right along. Bacon, would you like to take us through the roadmap for 2025?
Sure. All right. So on the ESO live stream the other day, they released our January 2025 roadmap, which I need to maximize here so I can actually see it. Give me 1 second. There we go.
Apologies to those that are in the stream. It's not the most.
It's pretty. Large. I think it looks pretty clear. I think you did a good job.
Yeah.
All right, so looking to the January 2025 roadmap, there's a couple things of note to point out. One of the things is already over, so I hope that you got it, and it was the G-Force land mission that happened that ended on the 11th. So if you got your green glowy deer, congratulations. But currently, what we have up and coming is we've got our 25% extra AP that goes through tomorrow, so by the time this episode drops, sorry, it's probably not happening anymore, but that is for Chaos Ball weekend that was just happening. But up and coming, the next things that are happening are we have our next Golden Pursuit, which has come out, and it's going to be called New Year, New Adventures. And this is going to run from January 21st through February 4th. You will be able to claim the Elf Hero themed costume. So we got our Nord Hero last time on the Golden Pursuit. And now we are getting our Elf Hero, which means I would guess that perhaps the Breton Hero might be in the future. But yeah, so for now we've got our Elf Hero. And like I said, that's going to run through February 4th. We don't know what other things are going to go along with that Golden Pursuit yet, but stay tuned to find out. We also have Twitch Drops Fest. Now, there's not too much on this, other than the fact that on the ESO live stream, they mentioned that you will be able to earn multiple drops of different things during the dates that are listed here, which is January 20th through January 31st. So basically, I think if you watch ESO streams, you'll be able to learn. Wow. You'll be able to earn these sort of sequential drops. We don't have too much more information than that, as far as I know, but that's running from January 20th through 31st. And then the next big one ties to what you were just talking about, our new Morphables that we mentioned, our Stone Wisp of Truth and Law, and that's going to be the Pan Tamriel celebration, which is coming up. So this is celebrating 10 years of Tamriel, and there's a bunch of new rewards that are going to be incoming for that event, and it's going to run January 23rd through February 4th. Now, I learned something new about this event today. I'm sure that in the next few weeks, we'll be getting a little bit more information, because that's about 10 days away from when we're recording right now. But today I saw that there were going to be bonuses to certain things that you do in the world. So this is one of the first times that I remember hearing that there are going to be fishing bonuses to an event. So if you do not have your Master Angler achievement, you have a better chance of getting those lower drop rate fish during this event. Yeah. I know that seems random, but that was one of the things that I saw being covered on a few other things of the socials. The other thing is you'll be able to go back and get some of the previous things that were earnable in other events, because they're going to be reactivated to drop during this event. So remember when everybody was farming for 1,000 years on dolmens and some of those other things during the past few events? Rumor has it that those style pages are going to be returning. I think that was on the PTS the last time. So don't quote me on it yet. We'll get more information soon. But what I did hear and see earlier today was that those sorts of things were going to be happening for this Pan Tamriel event, as well as style pages that dropped from certain events will be available at the Impresario Assistant in different zones. So like if you were to go to Blackwood, there's one set of style pages. If you were to go to High Isle, there's another set of style pages. Again, I haven't seen it for myself, and we don't have the full official announcement yet, but that is some of the stuff that I was seeing kind of floating around the socials after this roadmap was released, and as people were, practicing and running things on the PTS from the last time. So more to come on the Pan Tamriel event, but that's going to run January 23rd through February 4th. So I guess we'll have to find out then.
So you know what I see with that kind of little batch of clustered things? So January 21st to February 4th, basically everything is going until February 4th or just before.
Yeah, it's all kind of overlapping.
Yeah. So we've got pursuits. You've got drops for different activities to do throughout Tamriel. You've got Twitch drops for watching Twitch streams. That's where I'm tying all this into. It's basically a content creator's ESO quarter. If you stream Twitch and you've got everything set up, and it doesn't take much to get set up, it sounds like they're being like, we're giving you content to stream. You can be able to do all the Overland stuff. You can be able to do all the new pursuits, the golden pursuits, and some of the channels. I don't know if it's going to be all ESO channels or just the content creators channels or just the Bethesda streams. I don't know, but you're going to be able to get drops for those things. So it sounds like they're really kind of diving in hard for the next couple weeks in order to make up for that gap where they normally would do their January announcement and talk about all the new content that's coming in the year. They're like, go watch the streamers. And here's a bunch of cool stuff, which I love. I love earning stuff. I love the grinding. I do actually very much enjoy that. And I also love to stream. So I like it. I like that they're kind of giving the streaming community some stuff to go and do on their streams and not just the same old do the trial, do the dungeon. It's go and do some overland stuff with everybody, have some fun, and try to grind out for those style pages and stuff, which I think is cool.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's more to it, not fully confirmed. It's just some of the stuff that I saw other content creators starting to kind of push out today and start to talk about, since that is about 10 days away. So I am very excited to see what some of the other things are that we get, because obviously I did not go on PTS last time, so I'm not exactly sure what they tested during that event. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Moving right along with all of this fun stuff, we do have Update 45 base game to talk about. And this is a loaded one. This is a big one. There's a lot of stuff in this one. So go grab your drinks, grab what you need, sit down, your snacks, buckle up, because we got a bunch of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we do. Do you need me to slide you the papers? You got it?
I got it.
Got
Yeah,
it.
I just had to figure out which
Okay.
one it was. So
I didn't know if,
let's get
you know,
into
sometimes
that.
when we sit our drinks down on the table when we're at the tavern, there's those wet rings from the mugs, and sometimes it gets on stuff, and I just wasn't sure.
That is a thing. It does happen from time to time.
Yeah. Like the last time we tried to do like a show, I remember I sat my notes in the water, and at one point I couldn't find them, and then we had to, anyway.
Wing it. Remember that
Yeah.
one time when you tried to do like on the fly adjustments and you almost deleted the entire notes? Yeah, that happened. Hey, update 45. Okay,
Wow.
First things first. Can we talk about Cyrodiil? I'd like to talk about
Let's move on.
No, okay,
I'm
moving
kidding.
on. We're not talking about Cyrodiil.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
Please, let's.
Just.
No, it's the bacon dolman.
There it is. I have to find update 45 Cyrodiil champion test campaign. There we go. Beautiful. There's another thing down there which I want to talk about later too, but I'd like to talk about Cyrodiil because I think this is really big. This has been getting a lot of back and forth from the community so far. Like, some people love it, some people hate it, some people are like, I'll see it when I believe it. So there's a new campaign coming to the live server, not just the PTS. So it's currently on the PTS right now. It'll be on the PTS until, what was it, March?
Okay, so I actually don't think, I want to say that Wheeler actually said it's coming to the PTS second week.
It's on there right now, I think. Oh no, it's Fallen Banners right now.
Yeah, I think this test is going to, I think this test is starting second week.
Okay.
We'll see.
So
this is a little weird. So there's PTS and live. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. So the Cyrodiil, I'm not going to say about when things go on the live and when things go on the PTS because we're still trying to figure that part out. And honestly, probably should have done a little bit of research myself beforehand to figure that out, get a bit of a better answer on it. But what they're doing is they're going to drop a new campaign and they're calling it Vengeance. So all the campaigns in Cyrodiil are going away. They're going to get rid of them for the portion of this test. And what they're doing is they're going to lock every player into class specific sets. So basically you don't get to bring in your sets and your builds that you built. You're going to have a specific set. You're going to be a Nightblade, you're going to be a Dragon Knight, a Warden, a Sork, etc., etc., and that you have one set of skills. That's all you get. The purpose of this test is to see if they remove all the extra stuff out of the Cyrodiil server and just have a controlled environment where everyone only has like 6 different things that they can do and 6 different outfits that they can wear, how does Cyrodiil perform? That is the purpose of this test. They're trying to figure out, okay, if we get rid of all this stuff and we just lock it into these things, how does it perform? My guess, it's going to perform freaking well, because there's not many things that are going to have to be processed and handled in the back end of the server. It's going to be significantly less. Right now, Cyrodiil is processing and figuring out 1,000 different things a second, especially more when there are full population locks across the servers. So they're going to drop that down. It's going to be dropped back quite a bit with this new testing. So not to rabbit trail too far, when I'll read it verbatim from the Update 45 notes, and then you guys can go back and look through these notes yourselves. When playing a Cyrodiil Champions test campaign, you and your fellow players are locked to specific class builds, including abilities, attributes, and items. So that'll be armor and weapons. This test allows us to monitor how the server reacts to simplified abilities, with the goal being to collect data and help us plan for the future of Cyrodiil and abilities. During this test, 7 set Cyrodiil champion classes are available, and access to some of the features will be blocked, including crown store provisions, items not included in the class template, and more. During a Cyrodiil Champions campaign, all competitors are at an equal power level. It all comes down to what your skill is. Note that the Update 45, we are just beginning to test the Cyrodiil Champions campaign. Expect a full rollout with greater options and more polished experience in the future. So, bouncing off of the back of what I was saying earlier, they're going to start with 7 sets. They're going to test it. If it works out really well, they might keep it this way. If they choose to keep it this way, what we might see is new set styles that have been tested and polished by the developer team for Cyrodiil, and then they'll drop them in little bits at a time. They'll change out some sets, they'll add new sets in there to give you the customizability down the road, but they'll be able to control the specific sets that are there instead of like, what is it, like 150 different craftable sets, and each dungeon we have times 2 gatherable sets, each trial times like 4 sets or whatever. Like, just there's like hundreds of sets in this game, and all of them can be used in Cyrodiil right now. Now they're like, there's 7. And there's 6 abilities. Well, 6 abilities per class, per se. So I like this. I like that they're just basically scrapping it down to the bare bones and then working their way up from there to see if they can figure out what the heck the problem is. My hope is it stays this way, and maybe we see those 24-man groups coming back, which I mentioned a couple episodes ago. And I said 24-man groups, that was the prime of Zero.
Yep.
So that's kind of the Update 45. It will be on the PTS, and then it's actually going to go to the live server. So you are going to be able to play test it live. It's going to be basically a mode. They're going to get rid of all of the other campaigns in Cyrodiil for the period of the test, and there's going to be one. And that's it. It's just the one campaign. So you bet your bottom dollar that campaign is going to be full 24 hours a day, and you're queuing for it. But hopefully this will give them some insight into what needs to be fixed, what works, what doesn't work. And then once their test is done, it'll go back to the campaign system that we have right now, pending probably another test. My guess is that they're aiming to drop the test campaign at the end of the current Cyrodiil campaign so that people don't miss out on their AP boosts. I do believe I remember reading that somewhere, that they were going to wait until the campaign ended before they... So basically, I think this campaign will end, and then it will be Vengeance. So basically, once this current Cyrodiil campaign for Black Reach and Raven Watch? No. I don't know. Whatever the main one is. Ends, that'll be it. And then the next campaign to start, Greyhouse, thank you, will be the Vengeance campaign. You know what I was thinking? Raven Watch was because I've been doing the Reach campaign.
Yeah. It's okay. House Ravenwatch.
House Ravenwatch. So.
Can I clarify a couple things really quick?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Wheeler has been pretty like outspoken about this, and if people have been asking questions, he's been, answering as much as he can within the realm of reason. So this is going to feel like a big shakeup, but the thing that he keeps stressing and that the other devs are stressing is this is purely a test. This is not what the end game focus is for Cyrodiil. This is they could have stripped it back even more, but they didn't want to strip it back so completely bare that there was like just a few skills and a few things that were all the same for each class, right? They wanted there to still be some retention of some class identity for this test so that they can kind of see how things work when people are looking at the actual, you know, skills and whatnot. And one of the things that I liked that was mentioned is I believe he said, when you look at someone and you see a Templar, you know what you're going to get with a Templar. When you look at a Nightblade, you see a Nightblade, you're going to know what you're getting with a Nightblade. There's not a lot of guessing when it comes to that. So without the additional passives, without the additional skill lines and stuff like that, it's going to be a little bit cleaner for people, but also it's going to change some things because like healers, for example, are going to have to be really on it because there's not going to be as much extra with some of those skills. So like it's going to be a little bit more specific targety, like AoE and stuff is not going to function in the same way. So for the PTS versus the live, one of the things that was brought up is on the PTS, it's going to purely be more template and functionality testing. So it's making sure that the templates for each class work in the UI, and then also the functionality of each of the skills, and making sure that the skills are actually performant so that when they do bring the Cyrodiil server up for that week that it's going to be live, because it's going to be a pretty short campaign. I think they said it's only a week on the live server, that they won't have to worry about the templates and they won't have to worry about bugging with the functionality of everybody's skills and gear and all of that stuff. So if you are a PTS player, please get in there and test the functionality of your characters and of the skills that are going to be made available to them, because it's going to make the time on live more beneficial for you and for everybody else that may not have the opportunity to play the PTS. So I know you talked about everything being toned back and stuff like that, but I just wanted to kind of clarify a couple of those things because of the timing and the large numbers that are hopefully expected. The other question has been, well, why not do this test just straight on PTS? Why are we bringing it to live and locking everybody out? They were very transparent with that. They flat out said, it's because we don't get the numbers on PTS that we get on live. We can't expect everybody to download the PTS or have time to play the PTS. So we are going to
150 gigs.
Yeah, right?
On top of your game file.
Right. So I have never downloaded PTS, and it's purely because it will not fit on my machine.
Yeah.
So I do not have the ability to be able to put it on my machine to be able to do that. So hold on, I think I have a visitor to the tavern too.
You have a
1
Khajiit.
second. Not a Khajiit.
Oh.
I have a small tiny elf.
I was gonna say one cool thing that they're kind of giving everybody that's playing on the PTS, or not on the PTS, sorry, is that on the live and the PTS, is that there's gonna be no passives, no weapon lines, no additional skill lines, but you're gonna get infinite potions, infinite siege, and you don't need to pack anything up. So literally, you could just you could just leave your siege behind you. You're getting attacked by a weird beige T-Rex.
Yes, I am. There's a T-Rex in the tavern. I'm sorry. What? Oh, that's going to be good for the audio.
Oh man, I love it.
This is what happens late night in the tavern. You have to have your people come say goodnight to you. So, sorry everyone for the distraction here for a wee moment. Yes, it is blinking at you. Yeah.
I just got winked at. Aw, you got T-Rex
Thank
kiss.
you.
So the fact that they're going to give us infinite potions and infinite siege, you just leave the siege at the door and just run in and do your thing, and it'll just break down really quickly, and then you'll be good, is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. So they are rewarding us. They're rewarding the players by being like, hey, you don't have to worry about using your gear or anything. We're going to give you everything for the campaign. We're going to give it all to you. Have fun. We don't care. We're not worried about you burning through your siege and then being like, well, I had to spend AP on a test server to get everything back up. And they're like, no, it's just, you're going to go in, you're going to click the guys, give you some siege, and it's going to be one and done. Just here's some siege. Have fun. Which I think is going to be awesome.
I'm also excited about this because I think that's going to be one of the other things that they're probably looking at performance-wise. So, like, what happens if there's 4 keeps being sieged, and everybody just leaves their siege weaponry and just piles into a ball inside? Each keep.
That's 100 pieces of equipment.
Right? That's all things that it's still running or that has, like, localized in certain batches on the, oh gosh, there it is. There's my mic bump for the episode. That it's localizing and kind of leaving in the spaces. So I think that is also part of this test too, is they want to encourage people to kind of let everything be, for lack of better way of saying it, sloppy.
Throw everything kind of out the server and try to break it.
Yeah, it's like, how many people can we get in here? How large groups can we have? How many skills can we have going off? How much siege can we have? So, like, just, I think back to when I first ran Cyrodiil. There was one time when I first ran Cyrodiil on my good old PlayStation 4, and I was in there, and I think I only saw, like, every 4, I don't know, it was like 4 frames. It was so bad. It was just, like, choppy, right? And we were running up a wall, and it was like a big group. And this is like early Cyrodiil, so not with the walls falling and things like that, like some of the updates that came later. But it was just like, I remember seeing my character at the bottom, and then in the middle, and then at the top, and then just off. It's nothing, right? So I think they want that. They want that to happen so that they can, like, figure out what's going on. So, I'm very excited about this. I think that we're going to have a bunch of lore seekers get in there and pile in and just try and queue together and get in and do as much as we can to help them test. The other fantastic thing is we're a multi-platform community. So if they run this on not only just PC, but it's going to go to the live servers and be on the consoles too, this is a great opportunity for everyone to see the performance differences between the things, because that will also give them some sort of information. What if it's add-ons? What if there's things, you know what I'm saying?
There's been talk in the community about some add-ons specifically being known to cause a problem that they know about, that Zoss even knows about. They're like, yeah, there are add-ons that we let people develop and design that we know cause lag. I use one of them.
Yeah, I know you do.
I'm not going to stop using it because I'm like, well, here's the way I look at it. If you really thought it was a problem and you needed to get rid of it and fix it, then get rid of it and fix it. But
vanilla, baby.
There are add-ons out there that they know. Yeah, there are add-ons out there that they know that cause these problems, and So I won't spoil that next bit, but because that's going to come up in probably a minute or two, and I know you're really excited about it. Yep. Let's talk about, so enough about Cyrodiil, enough PvPing between everybody. Let's talk about some quality of life stuff. Some big QOL, which I also very much enjoy. Starting with, did you want to cover this, or do you want me to go over this and then you can do lore lesson? I don't know where you're. I'll let you.
It doesn't matter.
We talk about the special thing. You can talk about the special thing.
Yeah, I mean, we can go back and forth too. There's some things to add here and there as we go. I'm going to actually open some other notes, the ones, because there were things that I didn't put in here that were listed in there that I'm going to go to when we get to the map thing. So.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so I'll start us off while you're doing that. So there are some huge QOL things happening with our inventory. So if you're like me and you run around with a million different outfits in your pocket and you're like, I got to destroy like 90% of these things because they're in there and I don't use them, aka disguises, they are now going to the collectibles portion of your account. So they get taken out of your inventory and you won't see them in there anymore. Now they're just in the collectibles portion. You can put them on if you want to. I'm sure there's going to be something that's going to guide you through on the quests when you need to enable a disguise when you're sneaking through somewhere. There are a few quests that do rely on you wearing the disguises. I think all the base games do. Minmi Pro in chat here had just mentioned disguises should be 100% quest-based. In all honesty, I don't use disguises outside of when I'm required to do that, and even then, I probably don't wear them. A disguise could be a style
How
you could put on your character. I know, terrible. I don't use the game mechanics the way the mechanics should be. Don't judge me!
Oh, I'm judging you. I'm judging you hard.
Improved base mount speed. So,
thank the Lord. Thank the divines.
Yes. If you have an end game mount, you are not going to see pretty much any adjustment. I think it's 1% adjustment on your speed boost. But if you are a brand new character, they're increasing the speed by, I believe, Minwi and I were talking, it's 13% total.
Is
it more than that?
Go ahead.
No.
So your increased base mount speed bonus is going to be 42%.
42%.
And then it will be up from 15%. So it's a pretty significant increase.
That is huge.
Yeah, major gallop is going to be considered just gallop and will be a minor buff instead of a major buff.
The age of bringing in your brand new CP level 50 character into Cyrodiil and being the slowest mount where people are running past you on foot because they have a combat bug is gone. You will now actually ride your mount faster than you can possibly run on foot, which is something that I didn't think we'd ever need to explain and talk about, but apparently it's taken 10 years to get to this point, and it's now finally fixed. Hallelujah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So that's a huge thing. So you're going to see some massive improvements to that for your new characters or new players that are coming into the game. You're going to have those boosts right off the top. So you don't feel like you're just trotting along in your super slow mount and just having a heck of a butt wiggle time on your bear. Because, well, the butt of the bear kind of like trots along and just like wiggles. But he slow gallops. He's like, ba-la-lum, ba-la-lum,
it's like,
ba-la-lum. Yeah.
And the rider's like,
that's going in the blooper reel. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Hot Mess Express incoming. Some huge improvements to the CP tree. Their green CP tree specifically, and I have a thing for this. I know. You're surprised. You're like, wait, you have one of these?
No, you know what? I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You gathered all the parchments. Oh, I saw the other thing. You gathered all the parchments that were needed for us to show things to people in the tavern, and that makes me happy.
Huge shout out to Minmi Pro for logging onto the PTS and grabbing this screen and then editing it so that we can have it. But here we go. There is your new green tree. So there are a few non-passives currently that are going to be entering into the realm of green passive because they finally realized that everybody uses these anyways and there's a bunch of these that need to be beneficially utilized. So why are we making these things go into your top bar on the green tree, which has no pertinent benefit to how your character plays the game? They are all quality of life adjustments. So they said, let's just give them more stuff and make their lives a little easier because the green tree does not affect how you play in a trial or a dungeon in Cyrodiil. It doesn't really change much. So, meticulous disassembly, plentiful harvest, treasure hunter, rationer, liquid efficiency, homemaker, which is the one I'm really looking forward to. That's the one that gives you a chance at an extra style page. Professional upkeep, infamous, and cut purses art are all going to be demoted from slottable CP green jewels to passive jewels. You still got to buy them. So you still have to have the CP in order to get them. They're the same CP costs as they were when they were slottables, but now they are passive. So you don't have to stick them up in the little bar, which gives you some room to add that good old fish boon bonus in there, mixed with a little bit of extra speed when you're running. because why not? And, maybe Treasure Hunter. Nope, Treasure Hunter is passive now. Never mind. I don't actually
Yes,
know what's left that needs to be slotted on the green tree
it's
because
okay.
there's.
So, you know what I think this actually stemmed from? And this is
Mhm.
straight from some crafters, because there's some creators who are crafters or, people that do housing. This is like a big deal for them because for some of these passives, you would almost have to have like 3 or 4 different bar setups. So you'd be like, oh, I need meticulous disassembly and harvester and this on here when I'm doing my writs, but then I'm going to flip it and I need homemaker and cut purse and, I don't know, whichever ones they put together for another activity that they're doing. So basically they were flipping green tree passives depending on what crafting or housing or harvesting, things like that you were doing in the world. And gosh, no other trees really have to do that. Like
Yeah.
even our blue tree, like yes, it changes in some scenarios as a DPS, but in general, it's not really like I'm going to be honest. I'm maybe
I
a little
haven't touched
lazy. I
mine.
don't change mine too much. Yeah, unless I'm like doing some content that I just is insurpassable and I'm like, "Ugh, maybe let me take a different, slottable in this spot and see if it helps." But in general, I don't do that. And poor crafters were having to do that if they were really trying to like min max their sort of gameplay loop. And
Yeah.
now hopefully this is going to keep that from having to happen for them, which is really, really nice. They're hopefully going to just have these now passively, not have to add it to your bar. And then it gives you the opportunity to have other stuff on your bar, like you said, that won't become passive. That's much more like individualized, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think that hits the nail on the head with that one for sure. And honestly, that's 3,000 gold every time you want to flip. So let's say you flip from doing your writs to going and gathering. Well, that's 6,000 gold that you're going to have to switch between going between those trees. And yeah, people will say, well, all those things, they'll pay that back. Yeah, your writs will pay that back in one run. Yes. But then you're just doing your writs for free and you're not actually getting ahead. So this is definitely going to make it a lot easier for those people that are just playing on a more PvE basis. So,
Yeah.
Tamriel map improvements. Bacon, take it away.
Oh my gosh. I am way more excited about this than I probably should be. And it is because I love maps. I love maps in game. I love maps as a human. I have a map on my desk of Tamriel. It just really makes me excited. So sometimes when I open the map in game, I have a little bit of a heart palpitation because it just looks like way shrines everywhere. Not anymore. Not anymore. That's right. So now they have done some things that will not only help the new player experience, but also help those of us that are seasoned and just have every way shrine in the game unlocked. Because we all know that if you've played this game for any length of time and you open your map, like I said, it just looks a little terrifying. So there are some, this is what they consider the first. Go ahead.
I have an add-on that solves that problem for me.
Yeah, but you know
Carry
what?
on.
This makes it base game, which means that you don't have to run the add-on unless you want a particular style for your map. Because I know you love to use a good stylized map. There's some
I
people that
do.
use the Oblivion map too. So, um, elitist peanut comes out was just said in the chat. Oh, anyway. So there are still going to be more things that they're looking to implement in the future. However, this first sort of batch of quality life improvements to the maps include some of the following things. So now the Tamriel map will only show essentially one way shrine per zone. So when you open up the map, it's just going to show you like that very first one where you would go to kind of like start that zone. Um, it will also now only show your favorited and primary homes. So rather than having like all of your little housing icons, because there are those people that for the achievement have collected every house in the game. I am not one of those people, but we know them. We know them. Yep, I'm pointing at you. And also people like Booch and Caddy, and there's just lots of people. Lotus of Doom, I know, has this one. So you can still favorite as many homes as you would like, and you can still set your primary residence, and those will show on your map, but the other ones won't, which is really, really nice.
Does the Tamrielic government, do they charge a speculation tax on vacant homes?
I don't know, but if they do, you are
I
screwed.
am so screwed.
You are screwed. And also, we have a very expensive winery sitting there then.
No, that's ALR land. That's agricultural. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's
Good
okay.
to know. Good to know. Yeah, good to know. The other thing too is that dungeons and trials are no longer going to be shown by default on the map. So when you're coming in as a new player, there's not going to be like, look, a dungeon right there that I can't access because I'm not of level.
Beady eyes and the little horn skull
Yeah.
on it. Be like, it's evil.
Yeah. Don't go here. Anyway, so that will no longer show, but it can be toggled off and on. Yes, that's going to be a sound clip later. I'm sure it probably is. It can be toggled off and on. Taking it even further, Tamriel Blackreach and the full like Orbis view where you like scroll all the way out and you get that round circle with Tamriel in the middle, and then you get like Fargrave and all of that stuff around the outside. It's going to be a little bit more of a catered sort of list, I guess, when
instead of the globes, they're going to give you like a list.
This one I'm not too sure about. I think that they mean is like what's going to be showing in them is a little bit more catered because of your preferencing that you choose with some of the other things that I've already mentioned. That one I'm a little unclear on, but we can check it out when it goes live. The Way Shrines filter the Way Shrines piece is gonna be split into these different filters. So you'll have Way Shrines, dungeons, trials, houses, basically everything we just went over that can be toggled, I believe. And the other thing too, and this one's a big game changer for people, is if you have a focused quest, if you have a quest that is the like active one, I think, the ultimate location now shows on both of those maps. So if you zoom all the way out to the Orbis, you will still see that marker. So You'll know where you have to go.
When I've lost my stupid little triangle, upside down triangle thing, I can zoom all the way out on the Orbis and be like, there it is.
Yep. And I think that's because people are like, where do I go for this quest? I can't find it. And it's like Clockwork City, like nowhere.
That's fair.
You're going to have to go all the way out of the map, right? So now this will help them with that. Minwee says Heem Joss is visible from Oblivion. No, he's not. Anyway, quest indicators, group member indicators, player indicators will also now show if the said indicators that you've got are pointing to their said locations. So again, there'll be more things that you can sort of customize. And then this one's a big one because the other day I was very tired and I could not freaking find Bankarai.
What?
I don't know why. I know. That is the stupidest thing.
Bangarai?
I'm fully admitting my problem, okay? It was 1:30 in the morning. I was tired. My eyes were crossing, and I just needed to finish this quest turn in, and I couldn't friggin' find Bankarai. Everywhere I zoomed around on the map, I went all around it.
You probably hovered over it like 5 or 6 times. And you were like, your mouse was sitting on it. Be like, where the hell is Bankarai?
I did, and that was what was funny is because I think I was streaming, and people are like, "Hey, back over." Anyway, so to help out stupid people like me, yes, the quote from Minwee, "Evermore." No, that's not it. That was actually said.
The never ending archive, unending archive.
Yeah, the unending archive. Anyway, now to help out sleep-deprived people who are attempting to turn in quests, the names of zones will now appear as you zoom in. So if you're zoomed out and then you're like, and you're zooming in, it's going to be like, Riddle.
What's it like when you zoom in? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So it's going to show you the names of the zones, and I think that's going to be really helpful for new players because sometimes you're like, "Hey, meet me in such and such," or they're like, "Can I get a port to this place?" And it'll be a lot faster for some of those people. I know there's an add-on that does that. I know, but again, it's nice that this is going base game.
Hey,
Don't
you know
you
what?
side-eye me like that.
No. It's one add-on that I can now tick off my add-on list because Toasted Peanut also needs to clean up his add-ons, and that's on his
Yep.
list of things to do in
Yep.
2027.
Last but not least, one of the nice things that they have added additional, besides having the map, the name on the map as you zoom in, it will also appear on the way shrine. So the name of the zone is going to appear in the tooltip on the way shrine. Hooray!
Hey,
Yeah.
I like
So
this. I actually really do like this.
I do too, because, again, I think that this is the step in helping make some quality of life things that have been additional add-ons for a long time into base game things that are important to players, right? It's going to save players time. It's going to help them stay immersed. It's going to, give them clues into the lore and how the zones are created. If they know that Daggerfall's here and Ebonheart's here, it's going to be a lot of things that I think will ultimately help people in the long run, not only just from an efficiency piece, but overall help make their game feel a lot nicer. So
Yeah.
I'm all on board with these map changes. And I like that stuff is toggleable. I think that's great. And yeah, I remember how big of a deal it was when Sky Shards came to consoles when you got close and they showed up. It was like a game changer for people. And I feel like this is going to be a very similar sort of thing. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I completely did forget how overabundant the way shrines are, all over the map before. Like, that was one of the core reasons why I got this add-on, was like I was sick and tired of trying to zoom into a zone and just like, do you want to travel to this way shrine? No, I don't want to travel to the way shrine. I want to look at the zone. So I found that. And so it's going to be really nice that they finally been like, we're clearing all this stuff up. We're getting rid of all this stuff. Going to make life really easy. So super excited to see it. I'll turn the add-on off just so I can see it too.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to look really quick, sorry, one last thing before we move on. In the ESO Live, Gina actually did have a sample of this. So there was a picture of the current map with the Wayshrine clutter, and then there was a nice picture of one that had some of these options, toggleable, things like that on it.
I didn't know that I would have had it.
I know, I'm sorry. I actually just now thought of it, so it's not your fault. That was a show prep thing that I completely blanked out on as well. But yeah, there was just a quick showing of that. So Minwee, want it soon? 5 minutes.
It's all good, Minwee.
It's okay. People can go do a little bit of research on their own.
We can't spoon feed everybody everything. Okay, well, we can, but we're not going to.
We're technically an eating and drinking establishment, so we have plenty of spoons.
Do we baby bird people food?
Absolutely not, unless you have
that's a premium.
some sort of
premium
ailment
cost
from war.
I really don't want to have to baby bird rot.
Baby burn? Baby burn. Oh boy.
Okay, moving right on. Hey, guess what? I did a thing today.
So proud. Can't wait to see this.
I did some work today. So we got a preview at the ESO Live of some huge... Okay, this game is 10 years old, and it has been a long time coming, and I'm so glad that they're doing this. They are starting the process of basically updating all the starter zones, starting with the very first ones, and then they're going to slowly work on their way through all of the base game zones as well. This is retexturing, reshading, moving and removing some assets, because there are some places in some of the picture previews that we get that they did remove some items and add some items, and it looks amazing. Like, looks so good. So we're just going to drop this up here and take a nice close look at some of these things. So one of the big things that I really liked was they did a really good job at blending the two terrains together instead of having these weird, like, hard cut edges from 2014 when the game first dropped. The textures on the docks are gorgeous.
Oh, like, I'm so stoked.
Like, the dock actually comes to the land. Look at the darkness and the shading in the delve here for this one too. Like, it's just beautiful. Like, just that's the texture blending that I was talking about right there.
That one's really noticeable as well. This
This
one,
one,
the
yes.
beach.
They and this one too has more clutter on the beach now. So
Mm-hmm.
they've really gone and kind of given things the polish that it needs, considering this game is now over 10 years old. And they're like, we're going to polish it. We're going to clean it up. We're going to add some things. We're going to make it look like it should look now compared to other zones. When you look at a zone like High Isle, and then you go wander around in Oridon, the textures are very noticeable there. Like, they're very hazy in Oridon. They're clunky. They're very simplified. And then you go to High Isle, and then you have docks with detail. They've got ropes around the poles, and the slats are all going in the different direction, and there's detail on the ramps, and like there's just lots of detail, and they're actually adding that now into the base game, which is fantastic. So really, really excited to see what they're going to change. And who knows, maybe that will extend to some of the base game houses and, you know, maybe retexture some of those things, just make them look a little bit better. I would hope that they would, but who knows? I mean, anything could happen. So
Yeah, I think for me, the stuff um that stuck out most is I remember Jess specifically saying that the the group of people that were looking at these assets wanted to make the base game feel lived in. So like some of the new zones, Necrum, High Isle, like you mentioned, our most recent stuff for Westfield, everywhere you look, it's almost like there's little stories that are not told, but that you could infer or make up on your own, right? Like you can look at a player's stall, a shopkeeper's stall, and see things in there that give you a clue to maybe who created that sort of area. Or you're running through the world and there's a skeleton and it's got a sword stuck through it and there is an empty backpack next to it and some items that give you a little bit of an idea about who this person might be, right? That's the clutter that we get in some of the DLCs that we didn't have necessarily in the base zone as much.
I think of
So I'm
Necrom
really,
and the merchant walking with the crates from the docks
yeah.
all the way into town. And I remember that was one of
Mhm.
the things that I caught onto right away, because I'm a sucker for a good dock, a good port.
Oh, or the Silt Striders.
The Silt
Remember that? That was
Striders,
like
yep,
a big deal. I had a full blown freak out when
yep.
that happened. Now,
High
granted, that's
Isle
not
had mounted
retexturing,
guards.
right? Ships going by. That's not
Yep.
retexturing in the way that we're talking about, or relooks at the way that we're talking about for the base game zone. But um, just like something as small as changing the water texture is going to make an insane amount of difference for these dockside and seaside towns.
Take a look at
So,
the water texture in some of these previews they put up
oh,
of the beaches. Like, it is
oh,
gorgeous.
I have been.
Yeah.
And they said that most of the stuff that was worked on initially was lighting. So there's a lot of
Yep.
additional lighting or
You
changes
can
to
see
lighting
it.
as well. Yeah,
You
you
can
can see
absolutely
it.
see it.
And the other thing that I really like, and you can see it in a few of the screenshots, particularly the one of like Alakir or that sort of deserty area that they show um, here. And it's not Alakir because that's not the base game or
No.
the initial starter zone. You know what I mean? But
Strauss Mackay.
Stros Mackay, sorry, thank you. You can see that there's kind of this, what a lot of games call a fog of war, or like this foggy nature that doesn't allow you to see a lot of draw distance.
Yep.
And now they've gone through and they have adjusted that sort of fog and asset to reflect now that you can see that there's buildings in the distance and there's a different texture to the clouds.
Yep.
And there's some, views that you can see that you couldn't see before in some of these starter zones. And that's really exciting.
It makes you remember that there is, yes, it's a game, but exactly like what you said, the world has a story beyond what you're currently playing, that you could imagine that there are lives of other NPCs happening in the distance in those buildings. Like, someone's getting up and going to their shop and opening it in a town that we've never been to. And
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, Minwei brings up in chat, like seeing the white gold tower from every border zone of Cyrodiil. Like all of the zones that we have gotten recently that butt up against Cyrodiil, it's been like a goal of mine to find somewhere and see if I can see white gold tower in the distance. And most of the time you can. There's a few quest locations where you can see those things. The other one that stuck out to me a lot was in Necrum. There is a spot where you can see Bardau, like hovering above Morrowind, but it is like
way the heck
It is
out
far
there.
away, right? Because it's
Yeah.
you're on the peninsula, and then it's over there on the island proper of Morrowind, and you can see it. And to
Yeah.
me, that is like such a difference from the storytelling perspective that maybe not every player is going to catch because they may not be a lore hound, or maybe they don't go and just stare at the world like some of us do because they have a different gameplay loop. But I'm going to tell you what, for me, that's a huge nerd moment. When I find a spot where a dev intentionally put a view like that, I freak out because it makes the story real for me. And I love that. So I'm really, really excited about some of these changes.
I was just looking up. I remember when it was brought up in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim that, to your point of seeing the white gold tower, that if you sat at the right spot, you actually could see it.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. Um Minwee says, "Let's hope the Colossus comes back." Okay, so there's a known bug currently for me right now in my game where I have not done the High Isle quest line on PC. I've done it on PlayStation, but not on PC. And on my PC account, Bendu Olo is just gone. He's not there. There's
It's
not even
account
water
wide.
tech. There's not even water texture there. It's just a blank square.
It's your
Poor
ZeniMax has just
Bendu Olo.
recognized that your account has done it once, so they just push it over to you. Be like, you don't need to see
Well,
this thing anymore.
normally it would
One
be
less
there
asset to
broken up
load.
then, right? No spoilers, but they're like, we'll save you some assets. Just don't even worry about it. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, poor Benduolo. Maybe he'll return one day. Or maybe it's because his statue went to the Crown store, so it's not in the harbor anymore. I'm not sure.
You gotta buy it, and then it adds it into the game.
You gotta buy Benduolo back. They're like, all flags Navy. Forget that. You're gonna purchase this. I'm just
You're
kidding.
gonna purchase this, and you're not gonna get it. We're just gonna put it back in the game for you. But then you have to buy it again if you want to put it in your house.
They're like,
How do we make some money off these chums?
can we do this? Oh boy. Anyway. Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's pretty much it. That's all the quality of life stuff that really we have to talk about, because there's nothing else super big or important.
I see what you're doing. I see what you're
There is no
doing.
other important things out there other than what happens on a PC ESO account, right? Because, consoles absolutely never get any love, right? Right?
Nope, I'm not taking the bait. Not doing it. Not doing it. Oh, fine, I'll take the bait. Yeah, consoles are getting add-ons. Oh my god!
They're getting add-ons.
Party in the tavern. Party in the tavern. Sorry.
There's gonna be so many clips from this episode, and
We're gonna be canceled. Okay.
Canceled or thrown to the top.
Yeah, so this is not okay. Here's what I'm gonna say about this. Don't get crazy. Maybe only a little crazy.
Okay, well,
we don't know when this
so.
is. But yeah, I'm already there. We don't know when this is coming. The thing that they announced is that they are starting the sort of back end side of things for consoles to have add-ons, which is very, very exciting. So as a console player, I would not expect to just like log in March and suddenly be able to download, a bunch of stuff. Like, I see that in chat.
Minwee, when they get a mini map, Bacon's gonna faint. I can see which way's north. I still run south.
No, you still run the wrong way. You have a mini map that's not so mini and a compass in the
compasses.
middle of your screen.
I still run the wrong
screw
direction.
it up. Anyway, yeah. So for this, basically what's happening is on the PTS, they are allowing the sort of whatever I guess they needed API and all of those things in order for people to start development of console add-ons. Now, the caveat is this will only be on the latest gen consoles. It will not be available for the previous Xbox or the previous PlayStation 4. It will only be on the most current models. And that's due to memory that's needed in order to make this happen. So, unfortunately, if you're sort of a last gen console friend, I'm really sorry. You're not going to be able to have add-ons. But if you are the newest generation, incoming soon. Welcome to the club. Incoming soon. We will see. I don't expect consoles to get like every add-on. Truly. I really don't expect it to be wild and have like dressing room and, all sorts of crazy things like that. But to have things like, maybe a mini map, I guess, if they leave it, or
Sky
maybe
shards,
some of
treasure
those lore books and
maps.
sky shards and treasure maps. Like, I would say I run vanilla PC ESO, and my main things that I have are sky shards, lore books, treasure maps, antiquities, and then for the Sigic portals. Like, that is what I run. I really don't run anything else, but it's a huge quality of life thing, and my inventory is a lot cleaner on PC than it is on PlayStation for that very reason.
Don't you run the crafting?
Nope.
Nope. Oh, you still do
Nope.
them all by hand.
Yep.
These
The
hands.
other day when I tried to use it to learn something, Minwee was trying to explain it to me and we added it and I've toggled it off and on like 10 times because I'm like, I'm going to try again. And then I toggle it on and I get confused when I'm trying to do alchemy and then I toggle it off and then I just walk up and do it manually because I can do it faster. But yeah,
Sure.
it was really cool. The one time I did it, it was jarring because I walked right up and it was just
It's like ding,
started
ding, ding,
putting things in
ding,
my inventory, and
done.
I was like, oh, what's that?
Stop putting things in my pockets without telling me first. Haven't
Yeah,
you
I was
heard
like,
of
whoa,
consent?
whoa. So yeah, I maybe one day I'll be more comfortable with it, but I can do comfortably my writs in probably less than 2 minutes if my inventory isn't full.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I think it will make a big quality of life for a lot of console um, players, and this is exciting. It's very exciting for us.
Olikins Gaming just said that they do 40 sets, I'm assuming, of the crafting writs during Jubilee on NA and another dozen plus on EU. They would never do that again. That sounds
Wow. You are
wild.
I bow to you, my friend. We have some people who have like 3 accounts that do a similar sort of thing. And
Bless you, Sparky. Bless you.
and Booch.
And
I just
Booch.
laugh.
I don't know.
There's a certain time of day that I'll sometimes be like lurking in game or whatever when I'm at work between doing things. And I laugh because I just watch my friends list go like so and so logged in. So and so logged off. So and so logged in. So and so logged off. And it's the same person. It's just different character names. And I'm like, they're doing the writs.
See, if I can get ESO to work on my Steam Deck, that would be me.
Oh my gosh. That's the thing I miss about Stadia. I used to do writs laying in bed before I would fall asleep, which maybe I'm a loser. That makes me sound like
No,
such a
no,
loser.
it's just the little chores that you can just do, and you're like, doesn't require any brain power. I don't have to talk to somebody. I don't have to interact with anybody. It's literally click a button,
Yep.
click a button, click a button,
Yep.
click a button, click a button, click a button, walk
Yep.
over, drop, 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 drop.
Done. It was like my quiet, like, oh, I have to put my kid to bed. I'm gonna. Yeah.
Simple.
Anyway.
Simple.
You know.
I was gonna ask the question, and don't shoot me for asking this question, and I don't mean any ill by this question. This is a genuine question, and those of you guys that are listening on the podcast, I would like to hear your answers about this as well. But console add-ons, really great. Only on the latest gen consoles. Do you think that this might be the start of the phasing out period of previous gen consoles? Because we do know that that's been one of the limitations for a lot of the QOL adjustments that they want to make, is because it's always been previous gen consoles can't do it. Do you think this might be the first step towards beginning that process of phasing people out that are on previous gen?
I don't want to say it, but I do truly feel like there is a chance of that. I don't think it's soon.
No.
I do not see it happening soon.
I think if they phased out, it'd be 5 years minimum.
Yeah, and nothing confirmed, right? Nothing confirmed. But I do think that there is a chance that we are very close to this happening. Yeah, it's brought up in chat. PS4 and Xbox One are older than ESO.
Yeah.
They are older than the game itself, right?
My day one console runs ESO
Yep.
on it. My day one, like the Xbox One console that launched after the 360, I have the first batch of consoles still sitting there and it runs ESO. So that just goes to show how old that is. I was living at my parents' place at the time.
Yeah. So, do I think it's possible? Absolutely. Do I
Mhm.
think it's probable within this year? No. So,
Oh, absolutely not in the next year or two.
it would not surprise me if it's a slow burn towards that direction. And that makes me sad because I do know that newer generation consoles are not accessible to everybody, and that
Mhm.
sucks, right? It really sucks. It's kind of like every time a console, like the backlog of games gets taken away from a console, or they stop support for a console. I remember how big of a blow it was when they like stopped supporting the PlayStation 3, which sounds really silly.
Yeah.
Because this actually wasn't that long ago, to be honest. But they finally stopped supporting the network login and all of that stuff because of the security and whatnot. And they're like, we're not going to support that anymore. Like, can you still use it? Yeah, of course. Like, if you got one, you can totally backlog and play your games. But online games and stuff, no, like you can't. So when they move away from that stuff, it sucks. But I also think that the people that want to be here and want to play will find a way
Mhm.
to make it work, right? There's a
Yep.
lot of options that we have now. We have GeForce Now. You can still play on the newer consoles if you want to play mobile, stuff like that. Or honestly, the new consoles are coming down in price during certain times of the year. So,
Yep.
and as we move towards new versions of those
I was
coming
gonna
out,
say there's another one coming out in the next year here, so
yeah, I mean, I think there's a good chance that they could kind of look at that as a like, all right, there's a new one coming out, so maybe we'll get some of these players to move over to consoles. I also do wonder if they have the sort of I don't want to say Stratix, but I wonder if they have a ability to see obviously who's coming via PS4, 5, 1, like the different sorts of consoles that are actually on the server. I don't know if they have that
like
readily available
ESO,
to them. Yeah, but I do
guaranteed they
wonder if
have that
they
information.
can see that, right? So
Guaranteed.
I guarantee you that they can tell how many people they have playing those
Yeah.
older consoles, and I'm beginning to wonder if some of the reason they're finding the time to transition to this and do this now is because there's really not a majority of those players on those anymore.
I would venture to say that the player base on prior gen consoles is probably less than 25 or 20%. Because to your point exactly, I think it's been how many years has the PS Pro been on the market now? Like 2 years
I I don't
ish.
even know.
Yeah,
Time flies when you're having fun.
and then the PS5 was just before that, like same generation. Obviously, there's the Pro and there's the Five. I get they're the same console, just different hardware, but it's and with a new gen console, I can guarantee you that this is a sorry, I won't guarantee. I could venture a guess that this is a precursor to them slowly beginning a phase out process in the next 5 years, and B, a tester to see how much can we put onto the PS5, PS5 Pro, Xbox Series X, Xbox Pro, or whatever I don't know what they're called anymore. I forget. But anyways, the
Yeah.
current gen consoles, the current top gens, how much strain can we put on those so that when the next console comes out, we know that those consoles are going to be able to run ESO beautifully with add-ons and retextures and all this kind of stuff. Now they're looking at being like, do we want to support 3 generations of consoles, or do we drop the oldest one in order to basically have the next 2 generation of consoles ready to go and running the game in the next era of ESO?
Yeah.
Because
I
it's coming out in the next year. That new PlayStation, new Xbox are coming out in the next year. So
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that they are looking at that stuff.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, do I think it's going to happen soon? Absolutely not. Do I think that it's a little inevitable? Yeah, I do.
yeah,
I do. And I'm a console player, right? So that's where I started.
yeah. Well, you started on
So
PS4.
yeah.
You said that
Yeah.
earlier in the stream.
Yeah.
So
And the other thing too that's crazy is like, to be honest, my PlayStation 5 is probably as much of a beast as my laptop, if not more. Like it's
mhm.
probably more powerful than my actual laptop in the long run. It's just that I can finesse the settings on my laptop to make it run smooth and look great and run in ultra and all of those things, right?
Yep,
So,
and plug
yeah.
16 monitors into it.
Not 16, it's just 3, but yeah.
I love it. So yeah, I mean, that's exciting. I'm really glad to hear that consoles are getting their add-on treatment. And honestly, I think it's going to be fantastic for the console players to be able to benefit from add-ons and dive into that, because they are very much a quality of life thing. I would be curious to see which add-ons get either ported over or developed, because I have a feeling a lot of the add-ons that we use, they're going to be, if they have to redevelop their add-on for console support, I think a lot of add-on creators will be like, nah, not doing it.
Yeah,
And I think some of them will be very much, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be like, hands down, let's do this.
It'll be, whoa. Be interesting to see.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see it. I will not be able to partake in the add-ons on console because I'm too old of a generation. But yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what they actually get and what unique add-ons they might get too. Because when you do these things, you do get some pretty unique things. So
yeah, the biggest one, I'm going to be honest, really quick, and that's just before we move on. The
Yeah,
biggest
go
one
for
that
it.
I'm scared, you know what I'm scared about?
What's that?
Anything that involves parsing. So like it will completely
Ooh.
change. It will completely change the well, first of
Yep.
all, anything like TTC, because that's going to
I was
completely
just gonna
change the
say,
economy. The
you can see
economies are
Mm-hmm.
they are so far apart between console and PC. They are like years away from each
Yep.
other. So I have a severe concern about that. And then my other severe concern is the gatekeeping that already happens with high-end trial teams at times. But
Yep.
Currently on console, the way that you have to do it is you literally record your parse, and some soul sits there, or they come and watch you parse, but some soul sits there and they're like, they didn't light attack at the right time. It's probably about a 2% loss of DPS in the end. And then what was their final DPS? Right? There's someone that sits there and literally analyzes your video and is like, oh, yeah, you hit 90K. You can come on in. Or, you know, oh, you missed that block or that bash or, you know. So I remember one of the ways that we used to parse on console. This is so funny. It was Slime Craw in Wayrest. So you would like roll into Wayrest and it was like, can you DPS this in less than a minute? If so, you can do this content with me. Or like, hey, you have to do the Twilight in this sort of thing. You need to DPS this in less than 3 minutes because that would average about this amount of DPS. I'm not even joking. That's how consoles.
You just take the health of the person and then divide it by 3 minutes, and that's how much damage.
So like, yeah. So before we used to have dummies, parse dummies and stuff like that in game. That is how consoles would test people for like sort of not gatekeeping. It was gatekeeping. Yeah. So that is the one thing that I am a little concerned about with add-ons coming. But we'll see, right? Maybe it won't even make a difference like that. We'll see. We don't even know what add-ons are coming.
Yeah, I would say if TTC or something equivalent to TTC showed up on the PlayStation Network, yes, it would completely obliterate a lot of the casual players because they wouldn't, they'd be like, well, what do I do with this stuff? How do I sell this? Do you want me to buy this stuff for this? It's going to really flip over the economy, but they might actually see that the consoles will actually get a viable trading economy, and trading guilds will actually become something which might revive some of the player base on consoles in a lot of ways. You might start to see more people come back to play on console because they're like, hey, there's a whole new area for me now to partake in, which I wasn't able to partake in because PC had all these add-ons that allowed you to do pricing, and PlayStation was like, for doing anything externally, and we can't port any of this stuff over or update these lists. So now TTC shows up, and you're going to have some actual content for people to do. There's going to be a grind.
Yeah. I do not envy the people that run trade guilds on console. They're incredible. We had one. We had one on an interview on SnugPod, and they run a very large trade guild on PlayStation. And I was so shocked at the amount of work that poor person does on a daily basis, all in service of the economy in game and the people that are in their guild. And they have a full maxed out trade guild. But I was just shocked, and I thought to myself, never. I could not with the size of our community. Like what? Yeah, it's literally a second job. It is just
Yep.
like it's insane. I have mad respect for anyone that does it with add-ons and definitely without add-ons. So,
Oh yeah.
kudos to you.
I think the efficiency of a lot of those trading guilds will go up drastically, which may increase or reduce the cost of things. So I think it's a very good thing. I hope that they get something equivalent to TTC on the consoles for that. And I do hope that you get some actual proper parsing dummies, and maybe some of those try hard trialers and dungeon grinders that think they have the highest DPS will stand in front of a dummy and realize it's not as high as they thought it was. And, they'll get humbled. Who knows? But regardless, I think it's great. Bring it on. Congratulations to consoles for finally being seen as not the lesser stepchild of the ESO community, and welcome to the add-on frenzy that is ESO. And I hope you enjoyed having good frames, because once you put add-ons in, they're going to drop.
I think we've murdered that. We've Dark Brotherhood contracted that particular
I might have a couple
thing,
of contracts out on myself for mentioning the fact
yeah.
at the end of previous gen consoles.
Yeah, well, not even just that. You just called us lesser humans a second ago, so I'm just gonna. Yeah. Anyway,
get canceled.
How about those new homes?
New homes. Yeah.
Castle Skingrad. Remember when everyone was like, I love Oblivion. Why can't I go in there? Is that quest locked? What's happening? Nope. Surprise. It's a house. So
makes sense.
Castle Skingrad, huge house. They were super excited about this on stream because it matches what's in Oblivion. Everybody was excited. Yeah. I wonder how expensive it's going to be.
It's exactly like it is in Oblivion.
Yeah, literally. It's like almost exactly the same footprint. Yeah. So they said that they used that as reference point for when they built it.
Awesome.
So
I'm actually,
the only difference is I think
the castle in Skyrim.
I don't know, but in Oblivion it's stone versus the wood. But yeah, it's different
textures. Era. Yeah.
Well, and not only that, it's different time. So like, what's to say that things weren't just made out of stone later? Anyway, but yeah. And then the other home that we're getting is also really cool, very different, and it is called Shattered Mirror Isle. And no sort of spoilers, but it's basically an Athelia Mirrormore sort of themed home. The way that you can travel to and from is through a shattered mirror.
I was just going to say, do I have to like place my hand on the mirror and
pretty much
get pulled into it? Reminds me of one of my favorite Stargate episodes.
Yeah, so it was a pretty cool thing when they showed it in the stream. I don't want to talk about them too much because, again, that's got to do with some quest points and things like that, I think. And just if you haven't done anything on a field... Oh, you did it to me.
Ophelia. Hang on.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. We don't need the tag against us. Nope. Athelia. Not Ophelia. Athelia. We don't want to spoil anything for that. So. And then there's the other thing they showed.
That audio was still there. I'm sorry. I was just like looked down and it said Ophelia and I'm like, it's still there.
But there was something else that they showed on stream. Poor Finn came on. COVID Finn.
The floating head.
Poor man. Floating head Finn. COVID said, Foo Finn.
Foo Finn, literally.
Foo Finn. Poor guy. We hope you're feeling better, Finn. But they showed off the new dungeons. And again, just because we don't want to do spoilers, we know there's a lot of people that like to not have the mechanics and the story spoiled. But there is a reason why everything is called Fallen Banners. And it has to do with the theming of these two new dungeons. So, did you get to watch any of that part of the preview at all or no?
I have not watched any of it.
All right, so I'll carry on then and try to be not spoilery. The dungeons are both themed around kind of the repercussions of the Three Banners War and the fact that it's been going on for a decade basically now, for us anyway, but just the length of time in game, right? It's been this sort of turnover of leaders and things like that, and then a potential peace talks and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, as you go through the storylines. The 2 new dungeons are named Exiled Redoubt and Lepsaclusa, and they do have some sort of different themings. So, the Exiled Redoubt involves more of a family sort of element and some things that are going on with them beneath Cyrodiil, if you will, in many ways, and has to do with their storyline. And then Lepsaclusa actually has to do with an Elder Scroll.
Ooh.
So there is an island that
Another
has an
Elder Scroll themed dungeon.
Yes. So there is an island that has an Elder Scroll on it. And the dungeon has to do with the storyline of sort of what's happening to the groups or the people that are trying to use said Elder Scroll. So definitely check those out. If you don't want spoilers, don't watch the stream. I mean, there's no mechanics spoilers or really too many story spoilers, but if you want to if you don't want to be visually spoiled, I guess is the best way to put it, then don't watch the stream. There's one other thing with these dungeons. This one's gonna hurt. This one might take us a second, and we're gonna try and not linger probably too long on this one. But specifically in the release that just came out covering update 45, it says that these dungeons will be only available to ESO Plus subscribers at launch. Very important words. At launch. This has been a pretty big controversy this week in the community. This is the first time that you have not been able to purchase a DLC with crowns at launch. So typically the footprint is when we get a DLC, if you have ESO Plus, it's instantly available to you. You can log in, you can go run your dungeon, you can do whatever. Nothing's going to change for ESO Plus players. We're good if you subscribe. If you were not a sub to ESO Plus, and let's say you bought crowns during a crown sale, something like that, you could go in and typically and purchase the DLC, and then you have those dungeons available to you because you own the content. Own the content. And you would be able to go in and play it whenever you want. Also, it meant that you could gift the content to other people. So, like, if you didn't have ESO Plus, but I wanted you to run it with me, Toasty, I could simply gift you the DLC, and then, boom, you and I can go into the dungeon together. You can't do that. That's not possible. So, yeah, the big controversy has been, is this a move to force people to sub so that they are getting money incoming because they're not doing a chapter footprint anymore for the year? Maybe. There's also been a lot of people who are saying, like, this is showing how downhill things are going. This is not good.
Doomsayers.
This is the precursor to the battle pass that's imminent and incoming. You know, there's a lot of people that are just, the camps are everywhere. There are camps of people with many different opinions. Some of them not so nice. Some of them are just, hey, it is what it is. It's a game. It has to make money. Microtransactions suck, but you know what? Like, it is what it is. And then there's kind of the people in the middle who are just like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of gross. And I kind of fall in a little bit of the middle right now for me personally. Like, I completely understand the business perspective and what is necessary and needed in order to keep the game running, funded, whatever. On the other hand, it does feel a little yucky to me personally as well, because I think it sucks because there are people that I know, because they have told me in the last few days, that if this launches live like this, they probably will not be playing the content. Like, they're not going to sub to ESO Plus because they can't afford it due to their current life situation. They can't, have a running monthly sub. They can't pay for it outright once, because that's the other thing too, is right. You can buy like ESO Plus for a year or something like that. So there's those people that are in that sort of camp of like, I love this game, I love the people that I play with, but if I'm not going to be able to just purchase something as a one-off thing, then I'm not going to do this because I can't afford to do this in the way that they're asking me to. And then there's the other side of people who also a little yucky to say, but it is a little bit of the like, well, if you can't afford to play the game, you can't afford to play the game, and that's just how it is, and X, Y, and Z. And I get that camp too. I think it just feels really gross because it hasn't been like this previously, and this is a change. This is a big, big change.
People hate change.
People do hate change, but also, a lot of MMOs have sub footprints that are different, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but I do think unfortunately it's kind of the way of how the world is starting to move with content, and it sucks because a lot of the games that we love, like this one, at one point they were sub, then it was free to play. We have free to play weekends, we have ESO plus weekends. It's just, oh gosh.
You remember when the game went free to play? People were up in arms and furious because they're like, I paid $80 to buy this game, and now you're going to want me to buy a sub and microtransactions, and all these people get to play free now. They buy the game once and they don't need to do this. And I had to pay a sub, bought the game for $80. And like, I was one of those people that was a little upset. I'm like, I bought the game for $80 and then you charged me $12 a month for a sub. And then you basically said, just buy the game and you can play it or sub and get extras. So it's the change. It's the change that people hate that really kind of is, it's the next growing pain.
Yeah.
In a sense.
And the thing to me, in chat, it says it's a change to something that is a passion for people, and that always hits you in the feels. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It sure does. It sure does, right? Like, to some people, this game is where their second family is. It's their second family unit, their guild, their best friends, people they've never met in person, but who they talk to every day, right? And to have some of that, not to be dramatic, but to have it kind of like taken away in a way, if you're like, I can't afford a sub, so I can't do that content with those people. Well, does that mean you can't play the game anymore? No, the game is still here. You can play it. You just have to not do that content. And that's hard because everybody always wants to test the new shiny thing or like run the new shiny thing. And that's hard. The other thing that I've seen that was incredibly valid to me, and I totally get it, is a lot of the content creators who have communities that are around the world, right? Exchange rates.
Yes.
Like people who have the ability to just sort of be able to do the base of what the game is asking for in order to be able to play it, to be with these people. Like that's a hard hit for them because they are having a lot of people in their community who are saying, what's happening? I can't play this game if it's going to become expensive. And that's hard. That sucks. So this one's been a bit of a controversy. It's been a bit of a controversy this week, and it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I would say I sit on the fence. So the exchange rate problem, I 100% I sympathize with. I'm like, that's garbage. That sucks. And I feel for you in that situation. That's a horrible situation to be in now that they're making you sub. On the flip side, for the majority of the rest of the community that's complaining about how now they have to sub to ESO or they can't get it, I'm in the camp with the people that say that if you're passionate about something, if you like what this is your hobby, this is what you do, pay for it. And if you can't pay for it, that sucks. Sorry, but it sucks. And I'm gonna get some shade for saying this live on stream, but that's just how I feel.
I mean, I gave you some shade about it yesterday. We had a lengthy discussion before being on the stream because we talked about like, how do we broach this on stream and not piss a bunch of people off?
Yeah.
How do we talk about it? But I feel that it's necessary, right? Like
it is.
As content creators, it's important that we aren't just as bad as it sounds, happy-go-lucky all the time, right? Like these are the issues that are coming forth in the community, and they're the things that are important to talk about because it's what exposes the community and allows people to give feedback and allows, a us to have a voice for the community in some ways.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't
Pardon me.
always white knight. Oh my goodness. Bless you. You can't
Thank you.
always white knight for something, that's not what we're saying. Like, we love this game. But I definitely think that we are feeling the whole, like, people are like, well, you just gave me a whole bunch of whole big changes, and now you've told me there's no chapters, and now you're telling me I got a sub. I'm outie. Sucks.
And
I hate that.
and I'm a big proponent of people saying, if you have a problem with something, protest with your wallet. And if that's how you want to protest the game, I am very much on the side of good on you. Like, that's a proper protest. Protest with your wallet. If you don't like the way something is going, if you don't like how much something costs, don't spend the money on it. And there are a lot of circumstances in which developers, retailers have realized that people stop spending money and they shift. And maybe in this situation, what might happen here is people are raising enough of a stink. And I say stink not as a jesty, haha, you guys are just being little babies, but I'm saying, like, as they're raising a stink, they're raising a poop storm over the fact that
Yeah.
they're doing this, and that maybe ZOS will actually look at this and be like, we approached this the wrong way, and
Yeah.
we're going to take a back step and reassess. Does that
Yeah,
mean that
this
they're
is
going to change how that works? No. Maybe they will still continue on with the free for ESO Plus, buy it with crowns. Or maybe they might just be like, nope, this is what we're doing for this release, and the next time we won't do it that way.
Yeah, so here's my hope with this, to be honest. My hope is that people being outspoken about this, I see in chat right now, someone says, I hope you're never in a limited income situation that someone takes that opinion about something you love. And I'm there, right? I totally agree. My hope is that there will be enough voices that they will look at it and kind of consider sort of their options and how this is working with the footprints of moving forward. And I think right now there has to be a little unrest, unfortunately, to allow for some of these changes to happen. And that's the hard part. That's the really hard part. And yes, and someone else says, remember 2025 is a let's try that year. It's a let's try this and fix it and things like that.
That's a really good point, actually. And
that's a really great point. But, that may come at the cost of some of your community. So you have to be careful.
Yep.
You have to be careful. If you alienate some of your players that spend, not monthly money, but like a little bit of money here and there because they save and they scrounge to be able to purchase some of these things, and now you're not giving them the option to purchase it. Ooh, that's not a great take. It's not a great take. Yeah. And so I am a little concerned about that. However, the hope that I have is that it says at launch.
Yep.
At launch. And I think that's what everybody needs to hold on to, because I think that is some of the things that are being skimmed over a little bit. It doesn't say never. It doesn't say only available to ESO Plus, period. It says only available to ESO Plus at launch. To me, that means that they're going to do a sort of exclusive to ESO Plus people initially for a set amount of time. And then after that, it will go to be able to be purchased. Again, not a great take. Or earned. That's true. We don't know.
We've seen them put DLCs in the daily rewards this past year, or gifted.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 100%.
What if it's coming at the end of the month? What if it's next month? Like the actual console anniversary? What if they give it to us? Like that's in June. There's every chance that could happen.
So I would say, just briefly, like I had my thought. It was there, and it just went.
Sorry.
ESO Plus being available only at launch. I think people, like you said, they latch on to that ESO Plus part and they miss the only at launch. This is a year of trying new things for them, and you are right. I hope that they see that they're ruffling some feathers, and I would not be surprised if we saw the dungeon DLCs available within 3 or 4 months after this date.
I think actually even less. It wouldn't surprise me if it was like a month. Because
Yep.
I think if they go to a seasonal model, like we've been talking about, right? They're going to go to seasons. Would not surprise me if like once that's done, first season starts, goes into DLC or goes into being able to be
Yep.
purchased or gifted.
Yep.
I, I honestly think that the community might be able to handle that or swallow that a little bit better than what's being looked at right now, which is just everybody who doesn't have ESO Plus is screwed. And that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Um, and this is where you and I think sit in a little bit different camps because I'm very much empathetic to as a person who subs two places. Ouch, it hurts me to say that. Um, I truly probably can't even afford that. I just suck it up and roll with it because of our community and because of, the passion that I have for doing content for this game and all of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But um, you know, it's really hard because how unfair is it to just tell someone like, sorry, like do better, or like, sorry, that you can't get that thing right now that you want to save up for. It's a hard take. It's a hard
Yeah.
take. Because that's the thing is sometimes people are working really, really hard and they are setting aside things and putting other things on the back burner because this is their hobby and this is what brings them joy and this
Yep.
is what they get all of that out of. So it's hard.
Yeah. It is a
It's
challenging
hard.
place. I don't agree with what they're doing with it. And I just want to make that stance very clear. I don't agree that they're locking
Yeah,
it behind
no,
ESO Plus. I don't want anyone to misunderstand.
mm-mm.
But I
No,
also, like you, understand from business standpoint that they
mm-hmm.
have to make money. And this isn't the greatest way to do it. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
And it's stinky, it's yucky, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, even if it's just this one time they do this, and they've realized the outcry that came from the community, and they're like, you know what, we're not doing that again. Like, we realize, we recognize, and I think it would be bold of them even to come out and say, you know what, we recognize that it was not the best decision. For whatever reason, we can't turn this decision around on this one, but we will not do this again going forward.
Yeah, it
And
wouldn't
then,
surprise me if there's somebody sitting up in an office and they're like, huh, I wonder what would happen if we did this. And then they're like,
and they led
let's
into
find
this year
out.
with the year
They
of
just like
trying things.
pulled the pin on the grenade and they went,
Throw it in there. What happens?
it's like that scene in Anchorman where they all walk up and you look the camera pans over and they're like, Brick, where'd you get a grenade? And he's like, it's just standing there holding it. Like I feel like that's this. Like
Yeah.
there were some people who look at all this cool stuff we're doing. Oh, so awesome. And then they glance over at Brick and he's like, ESO Plus only. And he's just holding the grenade with the pin out. And he's like, just waiting to see what the community does. Maybe this is one of those things that they, like you said, they were like, let's see what happens. And if the community doesn't like it, maybe we don't do that. So we have to stay positive and hopefully, I mean, we don't have to, but you know what I'm saying? I'm positive
You do what you want, really.
hopeful that maybe some of this will be heard and listened to by the people that need to hear it most when they see the outcry from the community.
Yep. Well, on the note of outcrying and emotional positionings and how something makes you feel emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
there are new player response options that are coming to some interactions with some quests. You got like super excited about this. I'm going to let you talk about this because I saw the glimmer in your eyes when we were talking in that video call and you were like,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah. So this is something that's new that was not talked about on the stream, but has come out in the PTS notes today. And it's these player response options. And it will be that there are going to be opportunities in some quests. It doesn't say all quests, some quests to respond to NPCs in a sort of more role play style answer. So think back to like Oblivion, if you've ever played, where you could like there were like options and there was this wheel where you could go like flirty or like not flirty, but like there were gosh, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. There was basically like an option to bring some emotion into it, and like if
Yeah.
the person liked you, usually they would like give you a little smirk or smile when you were talking to them, or if they were like a sourpuss and you weren't going to be able to persuade them in any way, they would like frown at you when they were talking to you. This is
I like
kind of
your
like their
frowning
response.
face.
This is sort of their like response to that. And it is that you'll have the options to potentially do dialogue that is kind, grim, merciful. So that must be like a quest sort of option, like the NPCs begging for mercy. I don't know. Merciful, ruthless. So like, sorry about it. That's how it is. Joker or flirty. If Naryu or Evely have any dialogue with or Darian,
There's going to be
yikes.
some very heartbroken people.
Yeah, I don't actually think that those quests will be ones that they like go back and put this in necessarily, but I didn't read the PTS notes, like the actual notes. But yes, Ollie, I know someone who's going to be chasing Jakarn. Yeah, like there could be some interesting opportunities here for people to, you know, change what their dialogue is when they're talking to those NPCs. And the other thing too is it did say that some of the dialogue, depending on how it was utilized, could even change quest outcomes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
For
the ones
future
that I think of
questing,
are
that'd be
like
huge.
merciful or ruthless. Like, what happens if someone's like, "Please forgive me," and you're like, "No," and you just sort of like you banish them or kill them or something? That's gonna feel like a lot more permanent, like we have in games like Skyrim and Oblivion, where if you accidentally killed an NPC, you just didn't get to do that stuff anymore. Yikes!
That
I
would
guess we'll see.
be, yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
wild.
guess we'll see. Ollie. Oh, it won't be me. Yeah. So we'll have to see. This one's pretty exciting. I'm excited to see where this one goes on the PTS and how it ends up on live. So, you know what else is on the PTS?
What else?
Prologue quests.
Ooh.
Yeah. So no spoilers. Not gonna say anything about them.
Don't you
But
dare.
I'm not going to. But let's just say that if you happen to read patch notes, then you may figure out some of the things that might be coming during the year, or perhaps going to be touched upon at some point during the year. Because
Match
there's a prologue
boats.
quest. Natchpotes, there's a prologue quest in there that people are going to be able to do in the PTS. And that's it.
I dig it. Sorry, I'm just working on a back end thing.
That's okay. I see you not looking at your camera anymore and you're moving stuff around. So I was like, uh-oh, let me take these next two sections because
Sorry.
he's doing something else.
He's busy. I'm
Yeah.
getting stuff done and ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, new
So
prologue quest. That'll be really exciting. Actually, I'm looking forward to dipping my toes into the prologue quest and checking out some stuff. I'm gonna have to read those patch notes to get some spoilers. So, well, it is that wonderful time of the stream where Peanut shuts up, mutes his mic, and Bacon sits down next to a quiet, warm fireplace, and we soak in a little bit of a story about lore.
I guess. You ready?
I'm ready. I moved
Okay.
over the tavern. Hey, quiet. Shh.
I'm not ready.
Quiet down.
I'm
You're
just
not
kidding.
ready.
I'm ready.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready.
Do
I'm
you want me to
kidding.
get
I'm ready.
everyone get rowdy again? Everybody get rowdy again.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Rowdy it
I'm
up.
ready. Shh, shh, shh.
Okay, no, she said just okay. Shh. Wrong one.
Oh.
Hot Mess Express. I need to remove that from the soundboard. I think that's what I just
What a-
need to do.
What a dumpster fire.
You know what? It's all you. Have a great time and enjoy.
libraries, lamps, and luminaries. Loreseeker. I am writing to inform you of some new things that have come to light. As you may know, we have traveled to Westfield and Skingrad to purchase an old winery as a sister to the Tavern. And now we have found ourselves amidst stacks of old and weathered pages, wings of unending shelves, and arcane mystery. Our time in the Scholarium started with a portal hop to a set of massive ruins. Speaking with our contact at the Skingrad Mages Guild gave us some insight into where we landed. Apparently, this was the famed Sunamir that was mentioned by Ulfsild in her writings. It was more impressive than we'd imagined, even with all the vines, rubble, and unkempt corridors. Once through the portal, we appeared to be below the Sunhold Mages Guild, which was quite disorienting, considering we had just been in Skingrad. At the same time, passing through the portal, we realized there was a change in humidity and weather, and it was quite jarring, and would also explain a lot of the challenges that have faced the pages stored below. This place, once filled with grand courtyards and massive libraries, has now found itself plagued with unstable magic. With the help of the divines, we've managed to make it through unscathed. I do hope you get to see it one day. Every lore seeker should take a chance on visiting the unknown for a little adventure and some knowledge sometime. Passing through massive stone doors, we were greeted with more shelves and corridors, some of them quite filled with rubble. It appears as if some of the areas may not be able to be recovered, unfortunately. Such a shame, considering there's knowledge from the First Era down here. Beyond that, we found a massive room containing 4 giant doors and some sort of an altar. The altar itself was unlike anything that we had seen before and was practically buzzing with magical energies based into a large focus crystal. But more on that later, I think. Fallen leaves. I've been getting distracted with explaining the place so much that I forgot to mention who I'm actually writing to you about. We've found some members from the Order of the Lamp. Members of this group, also known as Lamp Knights, are the protectors of the Mages Guild. The order has existed almost as long as the guild itself, and like a tree from an acorn, the guild was able to branch out all over Tamriel with the protection of its knights. Votary Nalia, she seems very nice. She fielded many of our questions once we arrived. Why is this place so important? Who is the Order of the Lamp? Why are we just now hearing about all of this? Long story short, the location wasn't initially that important to them, until they started noticing some of the old magic emanating from its halls. Now the place is filled with ancient magic, and more men and myrrh showing up every day. Lamp Knights are always the first to go in, since they are the ones sworn to protect both the guild's goals and its members. They typically go in first to be able to assess the situation before the adepts show up. There aren't too many votaries in the order at the moment, which is why we find Nalia there pretty much all the time. She's pretty outspoken on being more comfortable with a sword in her hand than a spellbook. Anyway, back to the Scholarium itself. There are books everywhere. One such book that I've come across has to do with the fancy altar that I mentioned earlier in my letter, and it's titled How to Scribe. It gives us some insight into some of the ancient magic that's found in this place. When I first read it, I truly didn't understand its contents, but now after some time exploring this place, it seems to make a lot more sense to me. Honestly, you'll have to come take a peek at all this yourself, but I have attached the text to try and convince you to consider making the trip. How to Scribe. A guide to scribing. A short guide written on my final day in the Scholarium, an encapsulation of years of work for you. Select the grimoire you wish to make your own. The grimoires I've left behind cover a wide array of scenarios and magical applications. I hope you find one to your liking. Think of each grimoire as a framework. They're pure opportunity, ready for you to adapt to your needs. In time, perhaps others will learn from my techniques and other grimoires might be created. I smile to think of my work living on. Define the focus of your scribing by choosing one of those scripts. I call them focus scripts because they define what a scribed skill truly is. Fire or frost? Heal or harm? What will your scribing do? I've always associated the focus scripts with the griffin. So directed, so sure of himself and his actions. Every skill must also have a signature element. Signature seemed the perfect word for these elements, as these magical components make your scribed works memorable. I've discovered so many ways to allow scribing to interact with the goals and magics of other disciplines and other schools of thought. I collaborated with the dragon heavily on these works, her keen mind the perfect sounding board for these complicated ideas. It was, indeed, the dragon's idea to concept out scripts that might adapt to the fighting and magical styles of a person holding the parchment. We were never able to fully develop the script in my time, but perhaps one day. Finalize the skill by applying a fix benefit of your choosing. Every time I scribed a new spell, I found that there was this leftover space in the structure. These simple mystical additions were suggested by the Netch, a way to add a little something to fill that empty spot. Affixes are a way for you to nudge your work in a direction that best suits you or your allies. So many directions you can take them. You'll use luminous ink to craft your newly scribed skill. Created in collaboration with the Netch, the ink I use in scribing is merely a substrate to the power vested through the altar. It's meant as a kind of binding agent, a way to draw raw magicka, thought, and intent together upon the page. Some other notes. Once you've scribed a skill or spell, you can always try scribing anew from your existing grimoire. Endless variation has always been part of my intent, provided you have the ink, of course. Not every script will apply to every grimoire, but this is a wonderful place to play, experiment, and discover. To me, that's part of the true magic of scribing. Now, if you'll excuse some tired humor, all you have to do is build a locus of power, convince creatures of pure magic that you mean well, pour their power into grimoires, which you have to design, and develop luminous ink you'll need to complete your creation. Easy! I hope that all the work I've put into scribing is not lost to time. Good luck, whoever follows in my footsteps. And may the crow be your guide. If nothing else, Loreseeker, I hope that you're intrigued by the thought of crafting and experimenting with ancient magics. It's not every day that someone gets to utilize knowledge that's still being learned so openly. Ulfsild clearly felt that she had more important things to leave behind as part of her legacy. Her hand has touched nearly everything here, yet she didn't share much of herself in the pages that have been left behind. There's so much more to her than we know. I can still feel a slight breeze that blows through these halls sometimes behind my back. It's almost like she's still here. I know. That's just me being a little off my leaves, isn't it? Ah, yes, how could I forget the other thing that was mentioned in her text? The Luminaries. Being that we had never heard of them, Toasty and I were an acorn away from thinking that we were completely mad. Imagine mysterious beings made of pure magic. They see nothing in the same way we do, and at times, they left us feeling downright confused. Not even the Luminaries themselves know exactly what they are, and they each have distinct personalities that are reflected in their appearance and have their own opinions on how they came to be. Speaking with them tends to lock you in riddles or higher thinking, and sometimes even a story or two. Even Ulfsild experienced this. The other day, when peeking through some of the dusty shelves, I came upon a short note of hers discussing the time that she posed the question to these beings herself. Ulfsild's note, The Origin of the Luminaries. An ode to the joy of a good mystery. I asked each of the Luminaries in turn about the origins of their kind, and they all returned vastly different answers. I plan to use this to craft my impossible riddle for the dragon. Owing to the nature of the griffin's birth, his answer changes each day. One day it's all magical might, and then the next it's the amount of magic that's been expended. But his unwavering belief is that he's finally got it right is always the same. The Indrik thinks he was manifested from pure thought, an invention of a mind that craved to make sense of the world through stories. And the Netch refuses to give me one answer, just rotating through as many tails as it has tendrils. The dragon seems almost angry that I care about this as much as I do. She is perfectly content to focus on the universe within, as she puts it, rather than contemplating the past. So, here, in no particular order, are my own theories. 1. Luminaries are the fallen tears of Aetherius. We have observed ethereal energy in many different forms, mostly crystalline. Why not as spirits with physical manifestations? Luminaries are experimental beings made by the Aedra and placed deliberately in our plane to guide and protect us. They are to Aetherius what the Daedra are to Oblivion, just much rarer. 3. They're a natural part of the magic cycle. If we imagine magic is like water, the luminaries are like aqueducts, carrying it to our plane and casting it around them like a glowing lamp. 4. The griffin believes it was created as an after effect of a powerful mage's spell. Perhaps there is something to these luminaries being made or shaped by someone in our plane. Or are they pure manifestations of thought, like the Indrik says? Feats of great magic? If someone made a luminary, even accidentally, could it be done again? That none of the luminaries truly know their origin did make me wonder if knowing that their origin was dangerous somehow. Would comprehending the nature of their existence alter something within them? I consider this a possible strength of my riddle, then. If the dragon could not conceive of the answer, then there was no way she could guess it. Satisfied with this line of thinking, I went to the dragon with my riddle. What is the origin of the luminaries? I compelled her to seek counsel from her fellow luminaries if she needed help. I did this so she could see that her answer could not possibly be the absolute truth. This was a tremendous mistake on my part. Luminaries don't feel the passage of time the way we do, and the ensuing argument lasted nearly 5 moon cycles. I sought Shal's advice, but he was busy in his own studies, and I could tell he thought the whole ordeal was rather petty. In the end, I could not bear to see my friends argue like that. I rescinded my riddle and asked the dragon for another chance. After so long crafting that first riddle, I had no idea what I'm going to do. I'm taking a break from Ivea. I'll head to Sunamir, my quiet little sanctum near Sunhold, and think on where to go from here. So, as you can tell, the question still remains. There is a lot more to learn about the luminaries in this place, and I hope that this letter has given you a bit of a glimpse into what's been happening down here in Ivea, or Sunamir, or actually wherever the heck we are. I'm not even sure how much longer Toasty and I are going to remain here. There is a lot to be uncovered, but the longing for adventure and travel across the landscape of Tamriel beckon to both of us. Besides, we still have a forgotten prince to find. For the lore. Safe travels, Loreseeker. Wow.
Okay, you guys can all start talking again. Thank you for being quiet.
I think that there was there a raid that came in during that? I just saw chat just exploding to the side of me, and I was
raids.
like,
so,
oh my gosh, hi Nine!
Huge shout out to Ninetails Fox.
Oh my gosh, there's 132 people in the chat.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few people that just popped on in and said hello. So huge shout out to Ninetail Fox and their community for dropping in and showing some massive ESO love. And a huge shout out to Bob Chikinski for the raid that you brought in with your community as well. Thank you very much for the tons of love. You guys are fantastic. How was your stream? Tell me all about it.
It's a Red Diamond Courier, too.
And a Red Diamond Courier.
That's who Bob Chichinsky is also a podcaster. Yes. So we have the Nine-Tail Fox, Mr. and Mrs., who have their community, and then Bob Chichinsky, who also does the Red Diamond Courier.
Wow, there's a bunch of podcasters and streamers in here right now. What happens when you get a bunch of casters in the same room together? Do big things happen, or just the world explodes? Just a whole new subplane of oblivion arrives.
Wow. Aw, friends. Thanks for coming, and thanks for sharing your communities with us. And right in the middle of a lore reading. Wow.
Best time to drop in, honestly.
I guess so.
All the hard stuff we dealt with earlier on in the stream, and then we just finished it off with some nice, wonderful lore. But if you guys, those of you guys that have dropped in, my name is Toasted Peanut, and I am joined by my fellow cast member, co-host, and guild leader, Gone Crazy Back Soon, and we are the hosts of the Loreseekers ESO podcast, where we talk all things ESO, lore, community, and the game itself. So you can find us on your podcatcher. We'll go through this again at the outro of our show here, but just to give kind of an overview of who we are and what we do. That is what we do. We are podcasters, and then we also stream our live recordings. So this is basically what's going to end up in the podcast when it actually goes live in about a week's time. I just set myself a hard goal. That was a terrible decision.
Cheers to you. You're doing great.
Cheers to me. We're doing great. We're doing absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Minwee says, we try to learn some lore, pronounce Dwemer, and find North. That's a pretty good summary.
Still
That's a
haven't
pretty
found
good
north.
summary, to be honest. Pretty good summary.
Oh, that was the wrong thing. No, dear. Okay, sorry, I'm moving tabs and windows around and I shouldn't be. Where are my notes? Here they are. Okay, I found them.
Good question.
So great lore lesson. Honestly, I caught a portion of it
Thank
because I
you.
ended up dealing with the chat that just kind of exploded in a wonderful, fantastic way. And then also I went to go refill my water glass. So literally, so I got up from my chair and I walked to go refill my water glass, and then a follow came in, and I'm like, oh sweet, we got another follow. That's awesome. And all of a sudden I heard this like the sound of, that I didn't realize was our raid sound until about 5 seconds after it went off, and I'm like, that was a raid. And I'm at the sink filling up my water glass, and I'm like, I should probably go back to the computer and figure out what's going on here. And then I show up, and there's just chat, just like, it's like, wow.
So what have we learned? Either you're not allowed to ever get up from your chair, or you're always allowed to get up from your chair.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
There's no in between.
So,
I'm giving you a thumbs up to what you just did.
To what
In
I
our
just...
notes.
Oh, okay.
In our
Yeah.
notes.
Cool.
I saw you.
Cool. Yeah, great job with the lore lesson. I'm excited to edit it and actually hear it again. I'll have to listen all the way from start to finish. But it was on the Luminaries, which is great.
Yeah. It was on Luminaries, the Order of the Lamp, and then the Scholarium a little bit. So I was trying to figure out how I wanted to kind of broach those subjects, because there is a lot to them from a lore perspective. And I originally was like, okay, maybe I can have this thing where we kind of come across them like out in the world. And then I thought, no, I don't want to change that lore. I don't want to change that lore. That's the best way of putting it. So I was like, okay, how can I do this? And I said, well, I want to continue our story a little bit and let people know what we've been doing, but also still touch on these things. And I thought kind of almost like a letter back to, like, if we were sending it to someone in the guild, or to, someone who was wondering where we had been. That was my sort of thought in how I was writing it. So it made it a little bit quicker to write, because I'm going to be honest, I wrote it very, very quickly in just a little over an hour, that whole thing. And it also gave the opportunity to use some of the readings, almost like attachments to a parchment or to a letter that would have been sent to somebody, and to describe the Scholarium a little bit, and sort of some of it without giving away too much quest-wise as well.
Yeah.
Because even though at this point probably a lot of people have done it, I wanted to kind of have it be more of an intriguing thing. I know I'm going to be honest, I haven't finished it. I still have one of the Luminaries. I know. I still have one of the Luminaries to talk to. So again, I wanted to make it intriguing and potentially have people look into some of that lore or consider doing scribing, but not spoilery to the point that it's like, I'm not going to do that. I've already learned about it. So yeah, I hope that it gives you a little turn in your lore book, or a little, I'll get to that at some point for those people that are listening. So
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Well, great job. Even
Thanks.
Yeah, even with something that was kind of, well, I mean, your last couple lessons have kind of been on the fly, but they've turned out really well.
Thanks.
So yeah, you're doing really well. Keep it up.
Hey, you too.
Thank you. We have some guild announcements. So for those of you guys that are listening on the podcast portion, we actually do have a guild. It's the Loreseekers Guild, and we've been around for almost 6 years now. 6 years?
Dude,
7?
it's our 7th birthday soon.
Oh my gosh.
Did you know that?
We're going to be this many.
What?
We're going to be this many. You know, like when a toddler asks to put your hands up, how many are you going to be? I mean, this many.
No.
We're going to be this many.
Like this.
We're going to be this many.
Thank you. Oh boy. Don't let him do your finances, everybody.
I am great at taxes.
7.
I just write the biggest number I find.
7. Is that how the divines work as well?
Yes.
How many are there? 8, 9, 7, 6? We don't know.
Depends on the day.
Depends on the era.
That too.
Oh boy. Anyway.
Yes, we are a guild that has been around for going on to our 7th year. Started out with 2 knuckleheads that just started this ball rolling, and we've had a few people pick it up, and then we're the next round of knuckleheads doing this for as long as we're doing it, and we're loving every second of it. So you can find us through our Discord channels, and we'll give you the links and everything later on in the episode. But we have some announcements of some new things that are happening in our guild. PCNA PvP stuff, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, of stuff that I've been doing. We have a rotating schedule with myself, Lady Fancy Feet, and Courting Onyx, who are all, we've all kind of volunteered to put some time on Sundays to do PvP stuff again in Cyrodiil, and then probably even test out a bit more the new live Vengeance server that'll come up. So looking forward to that. So if you're interested in PvP, you want to try it out, you've never done it before, or you're too scared to go into PvP, I tell you, pull up those britches, put on your big greaves, your big boy greaves, and get into Cyrodiil.
Thick with 2 C's?
Thick with 2 C's.
Cyrodiil may have 2 eyes, but we got 2 C's on our grave. Oh, dear God.
Anyways, moving right along. We got a comment on our last episode. It's been an absolute dumpster fire of an episode, and we loved every second of it. It's been great. So just for those of you guys that are joining, we're pretty much always like this. This is basically a standard episode for us. Oh. We got a comment on our socials from our last episode. So if you have a comment that you would like to, or an email, please send us an email or post a comment on Apple or Spotify, and we will read it live here on the show. So this comment came from our episode 11. We're official episode. And it is in response to a comment that I made about the impatience of PvPers in the PvP community with Cyrodiil and how people are starting to fade away. And this person actually hard disagreed with me. And you know what? That's okay. You're allowed to disagree with me. We're allowed to have a difference of opinion. And that's what makes us great, unique people. So their comment reads, hard disagree. PvPers are the most patient in the whole of Elder Scrolls, and they have been waiting for anything Cyrodiil related since they added the bridges back in 2018. I didn't realize it was 2018 that they added bridges. Over half a decade ago, no one cares about Battlegrounds, and that's the truth. And the current leaderboards have 2 days left before the reset on Xbox NA, and it's not even got a full 100 people on the leaderboard, and that's how few bother with it. We want Cyro, and they know that it's a crime they have left the PvP in this game for so long. So people want Cyrodiil. They want the changes. They want that content. And hopefully with this new chapter, this new update that's coming, we're going to see some big changes that'll actually end up panning down into the console Cyrodiils and really kind of revive some of that PvP aspect outside of just BGs. So I believe the comment was also in relation to my comment about them changing up the Battlegrounds as well, and how they kind of broke it down. So it was a Cyrodiil and Battleground comment that I'd made in episode 11. So yeah, thank you very much for your reply. I appreciate and respect your difference of opinion. And please, you're welcome back anytime, and come on, listen to our episodes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that we're starting to get some comments now. It's really exciting because it lets me know that, I love when people disagree or, give us stuff like this, because it's just great. It's great to see that the community has multiple facets, multiple levels, and that not everybody is all kind of in the same, stream of thinking sometimes. And I think that's important. I think that's what keeps the changes rolling and keeps the feedback good for the devs. So I think it's great.
Absolutely. And you know what? I love the dialogue. One of the cool things about being a podcaster is we strive and we crave on dialogue. So these things open up that new dialogue and give us something to talk about. And new opinions can come up too in these conversations. So it's always great to be able to see different people's perspectives and be able to kind of break them apart and kind of see kind of what they're saying or how people think. Because I'm not always right. In all honesty, I'm probably wrong more than I'm right. And I'm willing to admit that. So I don't pretend like I know everything, but I do know everything, and everybody's wrong. See what people here have to contend with?
Get back behind the bar.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
New punks. To be honest,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do Cyrodiil, but never could because I stink at PvP. You know what? Honestly, the best thing I would say to do in that situation, this is just a comment coming from the Twitch chat, and I always jump on those kind of PvP related Cyrodiil comments because I have a passion for Cyrodiil. I love the zone. I love the PvP. Everybody stinks at PvP. Even the ones that run around and think they're really great at PvP, they stink at PvP too. And the best thing to do is you got to get with a good group of people that'll take you through and they don't care that you die. That's how I learned. And you'll get better. And the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you get the hang of it. You start to learn how things work and you'll get better. I promise you, you will.
Yep.
So dive into it. Dive into it on the next mid-year event. Dive into it during the Vengeance server test. Go for it. That's the fair part. Well, you know, Loreseekers always looking for people. Always wanting people. So
come on and join us.
Come on in.
We
doors open, tavern's hot.
101.
Wait. Is the tavern hot? Well, the tavern's cold. It's just wet.
What?
That's what I pay you for. You gotta clean the bar top. Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I think we had a drunk Nord that knocked a few drinks over.
Was it Rigert?
You know what? It smells like Rigert.
I bet it was Rigert.
That's fair. You're on console. No, that's totally fine. We are on the console.
Surprise. We're on console.
We are
as well.
We're on consults. Consults?
Come join
We're
us.
on consult?
Consults.
Our community is on PlayStation. It's on
Xbox.
You know what? Let's go into this on the next little bit here. It's time for that episode, and I'm gonna give you the spiel in a minute here because I've been trying to give this spiel for the last few minutes, and I've just been like, we'll do it later. We'll talk more about this later. Talk about it. So you know what? Here it is. The song that everyone loves and knows and hates to hear, but loves to hear it.
Bard.
Play me a song. Classic.
Oh. Why are you so aggressive tonight?
I don't know. I'm so aggressive.
Play me a song.
Play me a song, dang damn it. Oh, I know. You're sitting right next to me.
I'm sorry for anything he said to you. Sorry.
That Bard's gonna bash you with his lute.
Oof.
That is it for this week's episode. Thank you very much, everybody who came and hung out in the tavern with us. We were so glad to see you. Thank you again to Ninetails Fox and Bob Jasinski for the raids and bringing your community to show some love and support. We love you for it. Those of you guys that came in, please give us take a second, follow us on Twitch if you enjoyed the episode. The Twitch handle is the Loreseekers ESO. You can also follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at Loreseekers ESO, Blue Sky, Loreseekers ESO, and send us an email at loreseekercast@gmail.com. Send us an email. I want to hear from you. Tell me that my shirts look terrible and I stink. I don't care. Make sure that you mention that bacon looks lovely. That's an important thing. So, if you're looking for me, I don't know why you would be. I'm not that impressive. You can find me on Twitch at Toasted Peanut. You can also find me on Twitter at Toasted Peanut. And in pretty much any Discord, you can find me. Same handle, Toasted Peanut. Peanut spelt with a 3 instead of an E. Bacon. You done laughing over there? Where can people find you?
Oh my goodness. You can find me on Twitch at Gone Crazy Back Soon, though I'm mostly on the Loreseekers channel, to be honest, when I'm streaming these days, unless it's something like really crazy that's just personal to me. You can also find me on X, formerly Twitter, at Katie Stunt Show. So that's one of the places where I am a little bit different because of when the account was made. But it does say Gone Crazy Back Soon, so you should still be able to find me. You can also find me in a plethora of Elder Scrolls Discords, including the Nine-Tail Fox, the Fox Den, their community. I am in their community as well. So you can find me at Gone Crazy Back Soon. And you can also find me on the PlayStation Network at Gone Crazy Back SN due to character limits. Now, when I'm not here with you in the tavern, the Unknown Traveler's Tavern, I can also be found every Sunday, for the most part, over in the cozy comforts of the Snug Pod on Snug Podcast with some of our members who are PlayStation lore seekers. So we like to talk every week about the things that have been happening in game from the console side of things, and just hang out in the game together, run some dungeons, do some stuff like that. So that's kind of a branch, see what I did there, of our guild as well, and another podcast that I like to hang out on. If you are going to send me a friend request or something in one of these spaces, please, like on PlayStation, for example, let me know where you found me or who you are, because sometimes I get random requests from people, and I tend to not approve them unless I understand where you're coming from. So yeah, a little bit about that. But you can find me in our Lore Seekers Discord, of course, as well. I'm pretty active there in the chat channels, so feel free to say hey if you join us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Discord for Lore Seekers, if you head on over to loreseekers.club, you'll get a link to all of our affiliated places, our Discord link, as well as some of the communities that we are a part of. The link is in the chat there for you, those that are in chat. Just fill out the questionnaire, be truthful about it, and we will review it and most likely approve it. We don't deny apps very often. Don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. It helps us be visible within the podcasting community, and it brings people to the guild. For every 5-star review on Apple Podcast, we will share it live here on the show. And if you comment on our Spotify episodes, we will also share them here on the show as well. So, without further ado, thank you everybody for being here. It has been an absolute pleasure. Those of you guys that are here in the chat with us, stay where you are. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to go show some love to a community. But other than that, have a wonderful evening, everybody. The tavern is open for as long as you need it to. Please have some drinks, enjoy the fire, and we'll see you all next time. Dilly.
Dilly freaking dilly. I gotcha.
You did it!
Gotcha.
Success party dance.
Safe travels.
See you
friends.
later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, stop your recording.
Got it. Check.
I gotta stop 2 sets of recordings here.
Oh
wow.
my gosh. Everybody, thank you. There's still over 100 people in here. Thank you for sticking around for the end of the episode and for everything. You all are rad. We love you. Like, wow. Just warms my heart, the ESO fam and our other, fellow creators. So thanks for sharing your communities with us, being here. And that was a monster of an episode. Almost 3 hours. Whew.
That was crazy. We even said that it was going to be a nice long episode too.
We knew it was. We were prepped for it.
Yeah, thank you again, Ninetails, for the raid, and Bob Chachinsky. I've said it so well. Well, we were on the stream, and now I can't say.
Bob Chachinsky. Hey, fun fact, Bob is the one that in Vegas had the loaf of bread from the voice actor for...
I love it.
Oh, so good. I know I bring it up every time I see Bob, but I can't help it. It's a memorable moment, watching him carry around a loaf of bread and having it signed by all the voiceover artists.
Of course. Yeah, sign that loaf of bread.
He said, it's true. I brought it all the way home. He sure did.
Do you still have it?
I hope it's like lacquered. I hope you like clear coated that sucker. Did someone say thick?
Thick
amazing.
With multiple C's?
Dude, those ducks bouncing their butts. I can't. What a great.
I absolutely love it.
Cat.
You guys have been absolutely freaking fantastic. So we're going to go show some love. Everybody hang out in the community here. We're going to go show some love to 8 Puppies, who is another content creator on the part of the ESO fam. I'm just going to make sure that they are still live. I haven't actually refreshed yet to make sure. They are still live. We're going to head on over there. So hang out for the raid. We'll see you next time, everybody. Have a fantastic evening. Go show some good old Lore Seeker love in that stream. Looks like they're doing some questing dressed as Molag Bal. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna go check it out.
Surprised they're not in a trial.
Yeah, fair enough. So raid, and it's EIGH1_.
I'm really
You thought
proud you can spell.
there we go.
It's a speak and spell with toasted peanut.
Channel is intended for
All
mature
right.
audiences. If you're not a mature person, well, I warned you. So
You on in
go
there, friends.
go show some love, guys, and we'll see you all over there. Toodles! Bye!
Bye.